Hello, passengers, and welcome aboard the TV Pilot's License with service to Thanksgiving break and your family's dining room table. We ask that you please fasten your headphones, secure your podcasting device, and remember that today's flight, we're eating turkey. But if you don't want to hear your family, we recommend some Bose noise-canceling headphones for that Christmas wish list. Welcome to the TV Pilot's License. My name is Rich Inman, and excuse me, my name is Geoff Kerbis.
Holy shit!
And Max Singer. How you
Who
boys
am I?
doing today? Happy Thanksgiving.
Well, if my prediction is correct, insert name of dog breed that won the National Dog Show this year.
Wait,
Rich,
we're
how are
landing in
you?
Turkey?
Oh my gosh. Well, gentlemen, this week we are doing something a little bit different. Because it is Thanksgiving, and I am thankful for these two gentlemen, I'm also thankful for the time away from these two gentlemen. So we wanted to put together a little episode of some of our favorite TV Pilot's License recordings that we've done in the past. And Max, we're going to start off with you. What is your episode that you are most thankful for?
Bet you thought I was going to say The Pit. Ha, you're wrong. I want to give a special thankful shout out to our coverage of Cheers from earlier this year.
Yeah.
It is so rare that you get to go back and watch something that is over 40 years old and it feels so relevant and so current, and it is such an example of like the blueprint that shows that have followed it for years and years since. It was a delightful pilot to watch, and we hope you enjoy going back into our archives for our coverage of Cheers.
And now,
Super special.
let's go back to that coverage of Cheers. Hello, passengers, and welcome aboard the TV Pilot's License with service to Boston. We ask that you please fasten your headphones, secure your podcasting device, and remember that making your way in the world today takes everything you got. Sorry, today was just a bit of a rough one, and also our Wi-Fi is down. Welcome to the TV Pilot's License. My name is Geoff Kerbis, joined by Rich Inman and Max Singer. How you boys doing today?
Jeff!
Look, I'll tell you right now that exposing my eyes and my brain to Instagram at any point in my life has made me coach. So I'm excited to get this underway.
Oh my goodness. Well, gentlemen, we are celebrating something today, and we're celebrating our 150th epised about TV pilots here at TV Pilot's License.
Our sesquicentennial.
Oh boy, that is a word that Rich is definitely knew before this episode.
I sure
but,
did.
But before we dive into Cheers today, Max, can you let folks know what this podcast is all about?
Yeah, here's to 148 TV pilots, one all in-flight questions, and one Emmys preview. Here at TV Pilot's License, we break down and analyze the pilot episodes of some of TV's most famous, or in some cases, infamous shows. We learn more about how these shows came to be and were originally made, if they're effective pilots and making us want to watch more, and if they can be made today. Go back and stream our old episodes from wherever you listen to podcasts. Check us out on YouTube and TikTok to see our smiling faces. Smash subscribe and like buttons. It helps us so much and takes nothing from you. And if it is your first time flying with us, then welcome aboard.
And Rich, to get us prepared to talk about Cheers, what is your in-flight question, or your question of the day, excuse me?
Well, just like New York is the fifth character in Sex and the City, the bar seems to be the, ninth character. I'm going to make that up in Cheers. But obviously this entire pilot centers around Sam Malone, the owner of Cheers. Sam Malone is canonically a washed-up former big league pitcher. And I want to know, what is your post-retirement Major League Baseball? If you're a washed-up Major League Baseball player, what is the local business that you start that everyone wants to hang out at?
Ooh. Max?
I'm gonna go with I'm getting a little like shoppy shop, like those kinds of like boutique stores that don't have anything in particular but have everything in particular.
Sure.
And you would just like hang out there. We have like pop-ups for foods, and we have artisanal nut butters and whatever else. I'm just getting like the coolest little shoppy shop in town. I'm setting up on some Main Street, USA, in a nice suburb of the city I made my name in. And I've got this place that's just like always involved with all the events in town. And I'm using my branding. I'm sponsoring little league teams. I'm sponsoring events at the schools. I'm getting at least one thing at the school named after me. And I'm just becoming like the little catch-all corner store in town.
I love that so much because I took this very literally, Rich, of like, what is a business that a washed up baseball player might own? And then I was like, wait a minute, washed laundromat. I would own a laundromat because I need to launder money that I am taking under the table because I'm signing things and saying that's $100. That's absolutely what I'm doing. Boy, oh boy, I would even call it washed. Jeff's washed laundromat, because that would be a delight, at least for me. But also, I'm also here to say, Rich, I thought about this question of what baseball player should open a business.
Sure.
Mike Piazza, why don't we have a pizza parlor?
Sure.
I mean, it is right there for you.
Because his name isn't Mike Pizza? Because that'd be...
You know what?
It was when I was 6.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. To all the 6-year-olds from the 90s who are now in their 30s.
6-year-old self.
Exactly. Where is the pizza parlor, Mike? I beg of you to answer this question. You own so many soccer teams in Italy. Why don't you own a pizza parlor?
He does?
Yes. We can talk about that off the air.
Okay.
Rich, what is your business?
Well, I mean, his name literally translates to plaza, so I think you could have an entire shopping center.
You're acting like I know. You act like I know Italian. That's a big mistake.
Well, a pizza is like the plaza of bread, and the toppings are the stores.
Yeah.
This will be
and
my
the
final
crust
episode.
literally is the border.
All right, for me, I gotta go sandwich shop. All the sandwiches. I gotta have the best meatball parm in town or something like that. But all the sandwiches are named after my former teammates or people who have struck me out at some point.
If you played for the Mets or the Yankees, you could call your sandwich shop the Subway Series. I think that would be.
Oh my God, Jeff,
I know.
We are going into business. Max, sign off right now.
Somebody sign us to the major league for one game. One game.
Yeah, I'm ready to die a San Diego Padre.
Oh,
Tillamook Cheddar, sponsor the pod.
Yes. Well, Rich, thank you so much for that question of the week. Let's talk a little bit more about Cheers. It feels appropriate that I open something up. There we go.
Yeah, my dog. Finish it.
Let's talk about Cheers, and we're going to start off with a quick synopsis. The regulars of the Boston bar Cheers share their experiences and lives with each other while drinking or working at the bar, where everybody knows your name. Well,
nice.
I think that does tell us a little bit about what today's episode is about. But Max, can you tell us a little bit more about how Cheers got made?
Today, we are talking about the pilot episode of Cheers titled Give Me a Ring Sometime, which originally aired on September 30th, 1982 on NBC. We're talking about the show's creators, the Charles brothers, and James Burrows a bit. Brothers Glenn and Les Charles and JF and B are the trio who brought us today's pilot. Their partnership begins with their time together on the sitcom Taxi, with Burrows serving as an in-house director on 76 episodes, and the Charles brothers working as producers and head writers for MTM Enterprises, MTM being the production company of Mary Tyler Moore and her then-husband Grant Tinker. The Charles brothers have served as writers on MASH, The Mary Tyler Moore Show, Phyllis and Bob Newhart Show, in addition to Taxi, while Burrows began working in stage management for theater in New York before transitioning to directing. He was hired as an in-house director for MTM in 1974 after writing Moore and Tinker a letter, because that's just how things worked 50 years ago.
Yay.
Write a letter. I don't know. Maybe you'll catch someone on a good day. I don't know what to tell you. After working in-house for several years, the trio wanted to strike out on their own and seek to create a new comedy series. The trio considered an American remake of the British series Fawlty Towers, which starred John Cleese, and eventually would use a radio program created by Burrows' father Abe called Duffy's Tavern as a jumping-off point. A bar they thought would provide a continuous stream of new characters, which interested the trio. For their protagonists, they wanted to recreate a Spencer Tracy, Katharine Hepburn type dynamic. As Burrows stated with an interview in the New York Times in 1983, she is uptown, he is downtown. In their pitch to NBC, producers originally shuddered at the concept of a show set entirely in a bar with fears about depictions of alcohol and network censors. The Charles brothers made it clear that while they weren't actually brothers and sisters, this show would be about family. The role of Sam Malone was originally written as a retired football player, with former Pro Bowl defensive lineman turned color commentator Fred Dwyer considered for the part. Ted Danson was younger, had more acting experience, eventually earning the role, but a year later, Dwyer would be cast as the lead in the NBC action series Hunter, which ran for 7 seasons.
Wow.
Sam was changed to a baseball player and loosely based on Red Sox relief pitcher Bill the Spaceman Lee.
Oh.
Kinda.
Oh, you know I'm here for the Spaceman. Savannah Bananas pitcher Bill Spaceman Lee.
We're remembrance of guys. It's TVPL. Lee, kinda nuts, an offbeat athlete who was very intelligent in his own right. Although a star basketball player in high school, Danson knew nothing about baseball and had never even attended a game. On their chemistry read for Sam and Diane, Shelley Long recalls, "When I met Ted, I realized too late my shirt was so blousy I gave him quite the view. I think it got us off to a really good start." Says Danson, I was too terrified to notice she had breasts. I do remember I was eating a sandwich.
From Subway series. That's where he got it.
We'd like to thank today's sponsor, Subway Series, for our 150th episode. The original pilot script was actually just the 4 main characters, with subsequent drafts adding in supporting roles we see today. The show is notable for the amount of motion in Burroughs' directing style, with characters constantly moving. The cast was told to never assume you're not being watched, and to always react to the scene being played. Burroughs also insisted on shooting with film over videotape, as was common practice for sitcoms, despite the network's complaints over cost. And finally, exterior shots of the bar are the Bull and Finch pub in Boston, Massachusetts. The bar has become one of the busiest tourist attractions in Boston, and in 2001 renamed itself Cheers Beacon Hill.
After number 2, after the place that Bill Burr threw up once after doing a set.
And just above, the Freedom Trail and Paul Revere.
Yeah, and then the Boston Cop Slide.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about this show. One of the things that I think is super interesting about this is this show sort of fakes you out with a mini intro into our cold open of the episode, where we get a little tease. We get a little tease of this song that we've been joking about probably a few too many times already in this episode. So you're going to be tired of it by the time we are done with this episode. But I would love to hear from the two of you about the idea of depicting our setting, right? We are almost romanticizing the concept of a bar as a third space, which we have talked a lot about on this podcast as like being eliminated. But
right, how
can you not be romantic about a place where you just see it's setting up for the day?
I'll tell you how. George Wendt passes out on the bar in the episode.
Knowing that Burroughs comes from theater in New York, and specifically like off-Broadway theater, though, there's so much in this intro that feels indebted to that part of his career. This notion of we are slowly having one character finish setting the stage. We see Sam Malone, Ted Danson, with no dialogue, just moving some boxes, setting up his bar. There's a twinkly, overture, this little instrumental, jazzy rendition of the theme song that we're going to hear in a little bit. And it feels a lot like the opening of a play. It feels like we are just kind of beginning as one character steps out, and then we get our first comedic scene, which really has nothing to do with this pilot, but it's just this little vignette that helps us build the world. And there is so much in Cheers that does feel so theatrical, and this really begins that process.
Rich, I want to go to you because the first joke that we get in this pilot is very much about a fake ID, right? A underage drinking, which, as Max even referenced, probably there is someone at NBC who was terrified that they were like, we're going to cover underage drinking on this primetime television show that we were already worried about being at a bar.
And you are 18 years old, as is canon on this podcast in its 150th episode.
Yeah, right. You have never had a sip of beer.
And fought in Vietnam. I want to make it also very clear that that's my canon.
I'm curious about, from your perspective, how do you think this does is setting up the humor that we're going to be
what an absolute curmudgeonly kid, like plays the part perfectly, has a retort for absolutely everything. Really, really nails it. But what you get out of this is that while Sam is going to be strict with what he does, he's going to be playful with absolutely everybody. And when this kid starts spouting off that, like, hands him a military ID that says he's 38, this kid's clearly, like, I don't know, 14.
Maybe. Yeah, on a good day.
It just sets up such a good dynamic with not only the people who are going to be regulars and employees at Cheers, but everybody gets a taste when they walk in. And like, to add on to this feels like a play thing, you could very easily set up the entire show on a stage with just the bar, and it feels very much the same. You just have a couple, like, close-up scenes and stuff like that. And yeah, it just does such a great job of establishing this is the we talk about it a lot. The you teach the audience how to your language for joke patter. It's like, it's the pacing, it's the what to expect out of the style. Like, you know, this is the thanks we get line gets like an ooh from the audience. Like, they're not expecting it. That's like, oh, we're very closely removed from Vietnam. Yeah. And that's what we're gonna get in this. It's like it's a risky joke, but they really nail it.
Also, calling Vietnam gross, A+.
Yes. Oh.
A+ joke writing.
Ooh, man.
So we get this wonderful, exchange, and then we're thrown directly into this iconic intro that I think is so fun and different from a lot of the stuff we've talked. Because, yeah, we get this song that plays nearly entirely in full.
Right.
But also we get depictions of the concepts of sort of what Max was talking about, right? The uptown versus the downtown culture of bars as gathering places.
Definitely.
Did you guys enjoy this classic intro, or did you think, I'm checking my watch to see how long it is?
I loved it, and we've all heard the theme from Cheers a million times. I even had a musical theater sheet music book of, like, audition cuts for men that had this song in that book. Like, it is that ubiquitous in, like, the American canon. We're talking about canons a lot, and not just because the show takes place in Boston. But I never heard this in the context of this pilot. And what I mean by that is how much it serves as, like, a mission statement for the pilot of Cheers as well. We're telling the audience, like, don't you want to go where everyone knows your name? Like, wouldn't you like to get away? Like, that question being posed to an audience. And that's what TV is doing. That's what a sitcom is doing. It's giving you 30 minutes of getting away where everyone knows your name. You're going to be comforted by these characters you're going to come to know and love. And this is a pilot where I think that we get a lot of the things we usually discuss on this podcast way in its third act. But what we do get is a very clear statement to the audience through its theme of, like, this is what we're going to do for you in the next 30 minutes.
Yeah. And one little thing that I hadn't noticed up until this rewatch of the pilot, I've seen this pilot a couple times now, is how much I think What We Do in the Shadows borrowed from this intro for their intro, of essentially taking old oil paintings and then putting the cast members in them, because they don't necessarily do that in, there's no people drawing Ted Danson into these paintings or anything like that. But that is, like, exactly the vibe that they're going for. And I didn't realize that until this rewatch.
Well, we get this intro, but let's talk about the introductions to the characters, because very clearly the cold open, as we discussed, was used to introduce us at least to our narrator of this pilot, who's going to be Sam in this instance. But there are a lot of other characters that we meet throughout this pilot. And I want to start off with, why is today different, right? Today is different. Yeah, NFL draft is happening right now. We really have to debate the Patriots drafting another linebacker. But more importantly, there is a whirlwind engagement that we are watching happen live, with a wedding a shotgun wedding of sorts being whisked away to a tropical climate. But let's talk a little bit more about meeting some of these characters today. So, Max, do you want to introduce us to our new blushing presumed bride?
Yeah, and I'm going to actually challenge what you said. I think this show's perspective and who we view it from is not Sam Malone, but it rather is Diane Chambers, played by Shelley Long, that first ensemble member we meet first. And Sam's interesting because Sam is the first person we meet. He's on screen the most, yet I don't think this show is his perspective. I think that we are following Shelley Long's journey. We're following Diane's journey more. It is her call to action. It is her why is today different that really sets off the back part of this pilot. And I've been trying, just this is off topic, but just trying really hard to think of, can I think of another like movie or TV show where the person who's on screen the most is not necessarily the person who's driving the action, if that makes sense.
Interesting. Do you mean like Sam is not necessarily driving the action on this?
Yeah, I think people interact with Sam, but I think every single person we meet has a one-on-one interaction with Diane, and I think it's Diane's story that really kickstarts what this show is going to be after this pilot. To me, this entire episode feels like a prologue for Diane's journey, even though the first person we meet is Sam.
Well, I want to touch on that because I think if we look at this as purely a pilot, right, we have to understand how our uptown girl ended up working at a bar after being a TA in this instance. And that is very, very important. But I feel like most likely, if we were to say, not just be a podcast about pilot episodes, but watch episode 2, we'd be a lot more ingrained in the idea of, we don't know how she ended up here, but she's definitely different from everyone else who either comes to this bar or works at this bar.
But to your first question, Geoff, Diane comes in with her fiance, Sumner Sloan. They are these educated elites. They recite things in French. They talk about poetry, maybe misquoting it a little bit. There's a certain highfalutin attitude. They order a bottle of Moet in this downtown kind of sports bar.
Yep.
And it is, how do these characters fit in amongst this real working class crowd of everyone else? And a lot of the humor early on is derived from that. It's this fish out of water in this working class bar. And that feels like a story that we've seen so many times. It's getting to meet the rest of the people in this ensemble that feels like we're getting into new territory.
And Rich, I want to go to you about some of the other people that we're meeting because Sam isn't the only one who works at his bar. He also has Carla and Coach. And I would love to go to you to hear a little bit about how you feel these two characters help this pilot.
Coach is, I think, one of my favorite characters I've seen in a pilot or in just like a TV show in general. And I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think either the first 2 seasons are the only times we get Coach. Like, Coach had to get replaced because I believe the actor passed away.
The actor passed away.
Yeah. And what a tremendous job he does with a extremely forgetful like shtick. That is how he's going to like come in. Immediately starts complaining about the Patriots selecting a linebacker in the draft. Has his opinion changed instantly by anyone who comes in to talk to him about it, and has some of the absolute best, just like knock it out of the park, like sitcom punchlines in this. The "Where's your bathroom?" next to my bedroom. That's just like every single one, just a blank stare at all these people. It feels very Taxi. It feels very like this is a Charles Brothers and James Burrows type character. And
I had an audible guffaw at his line about finishing his novel, and when Diane asks, "You're writing a novel?" and he says, "No, reading." Audible guffaw. I mean, that is a joke that is 60 years old. Like, that is something that you could place in any single decade of American comedy dating back to like the Marx Brothers, and it hits. And they're so simple these jokes. It's just they're well played and they're well acted and they're well reacted and they're well timed, and there's nothing in this that reinvents the wheel. It's just executed at the highest level, that even more than 40 years after it airs, we're talking about the simplicity and how hard it still hits for us.
Absolutely. And the way that they give him, the way that you get to learn his real name is from someone calling the bar and asking for Ernie Batuzzo, or I think that's what his name was. It's like, is there Ernie Batuzzo? That's you, coach. Speaking. Like a fucking perfect joke every time.
And then on the other side, we have this antagonist type character of Carla, right? Like, Carla is
Tasmanian devil,
biting, witty humor, like trying to poke the bear at all points in time. Truly, the only one who appears to be working in the bar is Carla as she is waiting tables. But at the same time, every time that Rhea Perlman, comes on screen, I'm expecting someone is going to be made fun of in the most hysterical way possible. And they may cry, but it's also going to be funny.
This is maybe a top 3 intro of any character in a comedy we've covered on this podcast. Agree. She enters at a 10 through that front door, crosses the entire length of that stage at a 10, goes off stage to change, and comes back in still at a 10, never skipping a beat. It is one of the most forceful comedic entries I have ever seen. And it's also just capturing so much of what we see from Burroughs on this directing style of, you need to always think the camera's on you, seeing the way that people turn and react to Carla as she enters and exits and moves throughout the space, the way that she is just constantly moving throughout the space. There is no stand and deliver. There is something simplistic. She is moving, a camera is following her, and it's like, it's Perlman and Burroughs working together to match what the other one is doing. Like, there is no stand in place. This is two people having to just be on it and focus the entire time, and they capture magic.
It's so interesting because, like you said, Max, like this is made for the stage. This all these people are very clearly like capable of making a play that looks like this, or just like doing a play together would be absolutely dynamite together, because you're painting like you're painting a scene every single time that the camera pans out. But I think let's say for like Carla, this is like, I've seen this exact opening, like, of her just nonstop talking all the way through. No one else can get a word in edgewise, and then her coming back out to introduce someone who's going to be super fiery. Like, I feel like I've seen that 100 times now, and you can see how powerful of an entry that is, that it inspires so many other people to do that.
Well, a bar wouldn't be a bar unless we had regulars, right? And we have 2 that are introduced in this pilot that really make up the remainder of our cast. We have Norm and we have Cliff. And just quickly want to hit on these 2 because I think that they're such great characters. To have the guy who is speaking up in every conversation, has all the facts. I like to call them the Jeopardy pro, your local Jeopardy pro, right? They would absolutely dominate in trivia, even if they're wrong or hysterically wrong, but they have the answers and they're playing every time. And then we have the Norm character in this pilot is one of my favorites that we've had as like a tertiary character, right? Like someone who's not going to be driving plot, but is going to be there and is in every scene. Very simply with, I'll have one more before I go home.
Right.
And one more turns into 2 more and turns into 3 more. And the audience can get in on the joke of, he'll have another right after that, right? It's such a great and well-written part that only speaks maybe 10 times in the entire pilot, but every single time I was like, George Wendt, bangers every single. He's batting 1,000 right now, like every single time.
And something funny about these 2 with Cliff and Norm is that John Ratzenberger, Pixar legend in every single Pixar movie,
sure.
He auditioned for Norm and bombed, and then later came back and read and got the role of Cliff. And George Wendt, who plays Norm, came in, had a audition from his agent that was one line of just saying beer, ends up being charming and delightful, gets to read for this larger part, and gets the role of Norm. I also love this role, and I think, Jeff, you hit the nail on the head of calling Cliff this, the bar trivia guy, the guy who knows everything, who can interject into every conversation, and having him be this blue-collar working class character, this idea of like, I'm not saying that he is dumb, like the smart dumb guy, like, the smart blue-collar guy who's such a fun contrast to the really dumb smart guy of Sumner, who's the antagonist in this. And you have these two people who are societally viewed as very different status, but like when they're in the bar, when they're in Cheers, the hierarchy flips. And Cliff outside these bars' walls may not have the status that Sumner does, but when they're in Cheers, baby, when they go down that staircase, Cliff holds such a higher ranking than Sumner does.
Well, there's one character that we've gotten a brief introduction to.
The kid.
Yeah, exactly. Mainstay, actually.
He's in 2 scenes.
every single episode, for sure. No, I want to talk a little bit about Sam, because it becomes revealed to us why Sam is a bartender, why Sam is the owner of said bar. And I'm curious for you two. Do you think that this was something we needed in episode 1 to find out, how Sam ended up here? Or could this have been in episode 2, maybe even in episode 3, that we find out that Sam owns a bar based off of some life choices?
The phrasing of "I had to leave the league, I had an elbow problem, I was bending it too much" is
great joke.
Possibly because look, maybe I'll talk more about this once we get into like things that we disliked or whatever. Or I'm sorry, wait a minute moments. Only done 150 of these. I do feel that they address alcoholism in a way that feels real, but also still like a little funny. Like it is, it is so easy for this scenery to get so dark. Like you are watching people with severe problems in the show, and the only reason that you can still feel comfortable about it in 2025 watching it, knowing that these people are essentially, you're watching people essentially like throw away their lives, lie to their spouses, etc., is that there is like a self-deprecation element to it. There is a, like, Sam knows that it's crazy that he's sober and owns a bar and bought this in like a drinking binge. It is, and they just do so in such like a clever, like, jabbing way. It's just really nice.
And I just love the phrasing of someone shouting, "Don't you know who this is?" to like a new character, to an outsider. It's one of the moments that feels the most piloty, like the most sitcom-y in this. But yeah, it's posing this question. Don't you know who this is? We're going to rattle off 3 facts about him. And then we get a little bit of Sam's perspective on it as well. And then we just move on.
Oh my God, coach going, "Are you kidding me? He was a great pitcher." And then Diane saying, "You were a drunk? Are you kidding? He was a great drunk."
Great drunk, yeah. That was
unbelievable.
Again, it's the simplicity, it's the repetition, it's the tete-a-tete, it's the pitter-patter. Like everything of this is so simple. It's just executed so well. They're not trying. It's something that you go back and you're like, they're not trying to reinvent the wheel, but like, in 1982, this is the creation of the wheel.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk a little bit about the idea of, I think one of the things that makes Cheers so beloved, at least in this pilot, is the idea of family, right? We talk a lot about the concept of family, and one of the things you do with your family is you have dumb, silly debates. You have debates that have no merit, they have no weight in your life or anything. So I do have the question for the two of you. What is the sweatiest movie, so that we have a extra, 30 or so years on this show to be able to decide it? I'm going to just say it is Pumping Iron, Arnold Schwarzenegger's Pumping Iron, because they are literally sweating buckets in that movie. But you can give me your answers, but I also want to hear, what do you think of these little debates that we're seeing throughout this episode? Because I think it makes the comedy of this show.
Yes.
Even if it doesn't have any weight on the plot of every episode.
There's a uniting element to this, and starting a bar conversation, I mean, is the entire reason that the Guinness Book of World Records exists. But but also like it just reminded me of this one time I was in Florida and we just started playing this game. Like me and like the table of people I was at, we were playing this game of like naming a bunch of bands that have numbers in the title, and then naming a bunch of bands that have colors in the title. And then anytime our server would come out, they would come out with more examples, and then they would go into the bar. I went into the bar to use the bathroom. The entire bar is shouting at each other. Like it just spread like wildfire. Like, and that is really, I mean, there's no better example of like what because the whole pilot is the motion of the pilot is very hub and spoke. Everything revolves around Sam. All these action items revolve around Sam. But this is how we unite the entire wheel.
There's so much here, and anyone who's older than 21 has this as like an evergreen experience where they can relate to. And if you don't have this experience, find better bars.
Or be funnier.
There's so much effective about this. It's an opportunity to involve your entire ensemble. It's an opportunity to rest your storyline for 30 seconds and just reset with this little bit of like goofy around the horn. And it's so funny to be like learning about this pilot, how it got made. This was just from the Charles brothers and Jimmy going around to bars in LA and trying to like take notes on conversations they overheard. And What's the Sweatiest Movie was a thing they heard at a bar in Los Angeles, and it made it into the pilot.
Genius.
And it's so funny, and I love all the suggestions. I am probably in agreement with Norm on it being alien. They are sweating in that space station the entire time in that movie. That is a steamy movie.
I think we might have overtaken it recently with Challengers. Challengers is a sweaty movie. That falls under the categories of movies you can smell.
Go for it.
I was going to say, a joke that we might not get in 2025, but is very funny to find out. Cliff shouts the movie Body Heat, which is a real movie that Ted Danson was in 2 years prior, and then Burroughs cuts to Danson's reaction. And it's one of those, like, blink and you miss it, like, inside baseball, in honor of Sam Malone, kind of jokes, but it's just such a fun bit of depth. And I like when a show does something like that.
I never knew that. That's so funny.
They do that twice in this when they ask what Shelley Long's deal is, like what Diane's deal is, and Sam says she's a hooker. Night Shift had just come out earlier that summer, and she plays a hooker in that.
Oh my god, that's brilliant.
Well, we talked a little bit about Shelley Long at the top. The third act really is all about Diane. It is very clear that it is establishing that Diane is not a one-off character. Diane will be here for the long run. And we're seeing a person in identity crisis for the most part. I'm curious for the two of you, and I'll just show my cards right now. I think Shelley Long's performance in this pilot is the key to this being a successful pilot, because we see a transformation from the moment we see her start to the button that we get at the end of the pilot, which is we will definitely talk about in a lot. But how do you think Diane does as a character of moving this third act along?
I don't think you're showing cards at all, because I 100% agree with you. I think that this entire episode is Diane's perspective. The audience is meant to follow this person's journey more than anyone else. And you're right, she does transform from the person who walks through the doors after we hear the theme music and gets it, the door held by the little boy who served in Vietnam, God bless him, to the version that we see in the very Button episode that ends this. She's a totally different character in the span of a day. And yeah, she is powerful. She is the fish out of water, but she's discovering herself. She's learning about where do I go from here? It's all of these calls to action that we've covered so often. It's just it happens in the third act instead of the first. But yeah, this hinges on her in terms of where can the story go.
That's such a great point. And for any writers listening to the way that you, if you're going to introduce a fish out of water character, that is how you get all the other characters to open up about why they're like that. Because otherwise you don't have you have to have like a pretty ham-fisted way of people explaining or giving you exposition if you don't have someone who is different and challenges the
like Carla and Diane. You don't have that scene of Carla talking about her no good ex-husband who walked out of their 4 kids and how she paid for him to go to TV repair school. You don't need that conversation between Carla and Coach or Carla and Sam. You need that conversation between Carla and Diane, and it's a foreshadowing for Diane as well that she doesn't even know yet.
Can I just say too that like Danny DeVito's character in Taxi pretty closely mirrors this one and Rhea Perlman's character, and the fact that they like found each other probably through Jimmy Burrows sitcom like is very charming to me. I really love that.
If you were to tell me they were related in their in that TV universe, I'd tell you yes, 100%. They both were part of the same. That family reunion would be nuts. Let's talk about the ending of this pilot a little bit more, because while we see this amazing monologue that's like sort of guided by Sam's character of being offered a job at a bar as what to do next, when you have found yourself with nothing else to do, I find it such a relatable thing for folks who are sort of trying to figure out their second act right now, right? Of the idea of, well, I could never do that, right? I think it is such an interesting, seeing it in 2025 glasses where folks are choosing maybe to leave corporate life and try something entirely different than they've never done before, or maybe even the reverse.
Subway Series.
Invest Sharks. What if I told you that people like sandwiches that have baseball themes? No, but in all honesty, I not only do we get this second act, but we get it in the most hilarious way possible of this big speech about why today's going to be different and why what we're expecting, only to get that 2 tourists have had their bag stolen and need help immediately. Right. I mean, what from you two, how do you like the button of this pilot to sort of send us off and welcome us to future episodes?
You want to go for it, Max?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'll tell you, I love it. We get a fish out of water. We get the academic who's now in the bar world, and she's, rattling off every single bit of her inner monologue to people who not only don't care, but don't know what she's actually telling them. And then just that final cutaway perfectly embodies the Burroughs philosophy of the camera is always on you. Just seeing the rest of your ensemble hunched over the bar, cracking up at her futile attempts to make connection with people. And that's what it is. It's about making connection. It's about family, even though you're not related. Yep. And it's about, this is the first day of the next chapter of her life. And it's a very sweet ending. It's a very earnest ending, and it's a very funny ending. Yeah,
there's it's almost like almost like a little nod to the hero's journey, the hero's circle, basically, that they that Marvel uses like a lot. I think it's based on the Iliad, I believe.
Yes. Good job.
And thank you.
Good job, Rich.
Thank you so much. She basically goes through that in the pattern in about like 2 minutes of just like realizing she's incredibly talented at being a bartender or being a server, and then denying it, and then trying it out, failing, and then her all is lost moment is realizing that she can't connect with average human beings, which is it's just perfect. I mean, the entire pilot revolves around, how do I keep Diane in this bar? How much is she gonna fall for Sumner's bullshit that we just keep her in the bar this entire time? And God, they did such a great job of it.
Well, gentlemen, that is our pilot, but I'd love to talk a little bit more about things that you loved about this show, things that you want to give a little bit more shine in regards to this pilot. And Max, you're nodding your head. I want to hear from you.
The way that Ted Danson pulls a cork out of a bottle of wine and says "Magnificent Pagan Beast" is one of the hottest things I've ever seen on TV.
Yeah, I know.
Make that a bottle of natural wine. Max is in, baby. He is.
There's a lot of actors, especially in sitcoms, who have the the makeup of tiny person, big head. You see this with your, and they frame really well on camera. They look really great in the shot, and they can pair against Adam Scott's a great example of this. Like Adam Scott and Amy Poehler in Parks and Rec. She's like 5'0". He's only like 5'8", but they frame together great in shots, and he's a small person with a very big head. I saw him once at a theater in person, real big noggin on the guy.
Yeah.
Ted Danson
Dude's got Barry Bond hat size numbers.
Come on the pod.
Ted Danson is a very large person with a very large head. And the way he just takes up space, the way he commands presence. And if you're looking at someone who's going to be behind a bar, who's going to be framed very theatrically, with like a theatricality throughout a lot of this pilot, his presence, his demeanor, the confidence that he exudes in the way that he can stand and lean. It's just watching an actor where there's something, it's like you're not conventionally attractive, but you are very tall and you convey yourself with a certain demeanor that it just adds so many points. It becomes so fascinating. It's like the 80s equivalent of like watching Adam Driver today.
I completely agree. Although Adam Driver in Girls is truly an upsetting type of. He strikes me more as like a Humphrey Bogart with like long hair. Like that feels like his aura in this particular.
They didn't frame him up close. They didn't have him leaning over bars and pulling corks out of wine bottles.
Rich, what about you?
The things I loved. I mean, this is just a. I don't think there's a pilot that has better pacing for jokes that I've ever seen. 30 Rock doesn't do it. Fucking Friends doesn't do it. I'm trying to think of other like What We Do in the Shadows pilot doesn't do it. That's like a pretty slow burn. It is like pound for pound the best joke pacing I've ever seen. This is not a heavyweight pilot script. This is a middleweight champion of the world pilot script where they will just beat you to death with jabs throughout the entire 12 rounds. And God, the moment where Carla picks up the phone and says, "Who isn't here?" and everybody's hands go up is maybe one of my favorite jokes that I've ever seen in a pilot. It's fucking perfect. Everyone's so great in this. Coach is unbelievable. I wish we got more of Coach like as it went on. But yeah, I just joke pacing. It's perfect.
I want to talk about the set of this pilot.
Hell yeah.
Because I think that when we talk about like a set, we talk about like, oh, it was well designed. Great. When a set feels alive, that is so hard to do. It is so hard to make. Because I have some fun facts for you guys. This set was 1,000 square feet large. Like, wow. That is gigantic. That is a lot of space to work in.
Yeah.
And throughout this pilot, I was sort of looking for, like, is there dead space right on stage? Like, with any play that I've ever sat in, I've been like, ooh, we got some dead space over here on the left. Like, nobody's there. Like, fine.
Jeff?
Yeah.
Have you developed director of photography eyes for throughout the course of this podcast? I'm very
welcome
impressed.
To going from a sports producer into a TV pilot producer mindset.
Okay.
But I think that the thing that I love about this is that the way that this is filmed makes every single shot look alive. You notice when new patrons come in to the bar, right? Like I have on my like things I'll never be able to do bucket list is be just a day player on Cheers walking into the bar, because boy, if they ever rebooted the show, I would move to LA just to do this. Like that would be the only thing. But this set, it's so cool. And like seeing how it was used effectively in this pilot is so damn cool. And if you watch this after watching or listening or watching this episode of TV Pilot's License, just look at the set and how every single person who is on screen is actively moving. And that's credit to Jimmy fucking Burrows, but that's also credit to making this set something that is possible.
And it's like, it's so like the quality of the show aside, it's so ubiquitous now. And that like, if you walk into a theater and you have no idea what is taking place there, but you can see the set and you know it's Hamilton, or you can see the set and you know it's Phantom of the Opera, or like, Jerry Seinfeld's apartment or something like that. It is built specifically for that. It is built like, it is, yeah. I mean, it's just like perfectly done.
Yeah, you see the non-existent set of Hamilton and people just going in a circle because it has the revolving
Right.
circle.
They should have put a revolve in the middle of Cheers.
Yeah, they should have put a revolve. Sam is just standing on a revolve the entire pilot. Well, let's talk a little bit more about wait a minute moments, things that cause you pause. And Rich, you said you had a few, so I'm curious. What are your wait a minute moments?
Yeah, I think like it is a difficult dance to ignore the severe alcoholism that's important. That's part of the crew here, and that's just like, I watch it with 2025 eyes and know like what the health problems are going to be for all the people in the show. The other one is Sumner shouldn't have come back at all the entire show. The him leaving should have been that should have been Diane waiting the entire time rather than Diane re-getting her hopes up and getting back. But that's my two nitpicks.
Max, what about yourself?
This is not a negative thing, but something that actually made me go, oh, wait a minute, when I saw it, which is it's a character by the name of Ron. And the only line that Ron has in this pilot is, "Good night, Sam. Thanks for lending me your ear." And if you look closely, he very subtly slips a ring back onto his finger.
Oh, wow.
Genius.
And it is a thing that is blink and you miss it. It says so much about Sam without having to hear what Sam says. And I think just to that point you made earlier, Rich, of like, there are these like kind of dark undertones to some of these characters and some of these barflies. I know so much about Ron's story without having never heard Ron speak. I know so much about who Sam is without having heard Sam's side of this. And I get such a powerful visual moment that is gone in a second and a half.
That is such a good eye on that.
When I saw it, I just literally said, oh, wait a minute.
Right.
That's why they call him Max Eagle Eye Singer. But I'll give my quick wait a minute moment. Not enough duck boat talk. Where are the duck boat tours? I mean, come on, we gotta go through the harbor and everybody quacks when they pass people. all that stuff. I need more duck boat, and I didn't see a single person drinking tea. What the fuck? Like what's happening in this pilot? No one said
one
"Knock
of you
your
guys
cock."
is wearing a three-cornered hat.
Jeff's gonna go home and binge
no
like
Mark Garcia Parra
300
jerseys
episode
anywhere.
of Cheers. He's gonna binge like 300 episodes of Cheers and then come back and be like, there was not a single duck boat.
I didn't hear David Ortiz mentioned once in this entire pilot,
insane.
and that is upsetting.
He was like a small child when this aired.
He was a big prospect, though, in baseball at the same time. But we do have one more question. This is an in-flight question. Our in-flight question this week comes from a frequent flyer, Lauren. And Lauren asks us, what is your favorite Jimmy Burrows pilot? And since this is our 150th episode, we've done quite a few Jimmy Burrows productions.
That's right.
So I am asking each of you, what is your favorite pilot that we've done? And I'm excluding Cheers for right now because we've talked so lovingly about it, and I want to point people to some of the other things we've talked about.
Ooh, this is such a good question.
Favorite Burrows specifically, I'm going to say Will and Grace. To me, it is the platonic ideal of a sitcom where you have 4 quadrants and you're trying to establish in your pilot how each of those 4 people will interact with each other in scenes as the show goes on. It's a template that's been used for, almost 30 years since that show first aired, and it's very effective. That is the peak ideal of how to set up your 4 quadrants.
Rich?
Yeah. Just to not take Will and Grace as well, I'm going to go Frasier. Frasier, I think, establishes a character so well that is a difficult spinoff. Spinoffs are hard, because you really have to set up an entirely brand new world for them to exist in that is divorced from Cheers, and they just do it. He just does a perfect job with that.
And Rich, I'm surprised you didn't go with this one, and I'm very happy you didn't.
Yeah.
News Radio. News Radio is pilot episode of television that I can just say is perfect.
Front to back,
it is
perfect.
a perfect introduction to a bunch of characters that you want to hear from all the time, and even if you don't understand how radio works, you understand a workplace comedy, and boy, does that show nail every single factor of it. Well, Lauren, thank you so much for that in-flight question. If you have an in-flight question that you would like to submit, you can always submit those at tvpilotslicense.com. You can also shoot us a text or leave us a voicemail at 213-290-1713. Well, gentlemen, let's talk a little bit about the history of this show as we wrap up. This show had 11 seasons and 275 episodes. That included actually a few one-hour episodes and the 90-minute finale episode as well. Wow. This show is very historic, right?
Sure.
Like the set was almost put in the Smithsonian at one point, and now it's featured in L.A. as well. But I want to just put some context into the ratings.
Where'd they leave it in L.A.?
They have it in a museum in L.A. from what I was reading about.
At the corner of Wilshire and La Cienega, just go by the dumpsters. Go by the dumpsters and the Cheers set is right there. You too can
own a part of Cheers. But as far as the metrics of how popular this show was, in its first season, the show got a 13.1 Nielsen score and was averaging 10.9 million households upon its premiere season. The show then stayed at number 3 or number 4 in the rankings from season 5 through 8. It then got a 24.2 Nielsen score, meaning that in 24% of all homes in the country, this show was on the TV. And here is the fun part, 28.75 million average viewers. The show did peak at number 1 in its 9th season of 11 seasons, which is just bonkers. And that season, it got a 21.3 and 32.7 million viewers on average. Just insane numbers.
And then Sam and Diane's wedding was like top 20 most viewed.
Yeah, it's one of the most watched TV episodes of all time.
With like the MASH finale.
We talked a little bit about the different topics. Alcoholism was covered in this episode, but the show was also very much not afraid of touching big topics in a slightly comedic way, but in a way that was family friendly, which I think is super important. Max talked a little bit about Fred Dreyer, but also for consideration for the role of Sam was Bill Cosby. Yes, Bill Cosby almost was this delightful character, and nothing bad ever happened because of that. The film was in.
And ironically, you don't want him anywhere near your drinks, and Jimmy Burrows knew that.
The film was actually entirely filmed at the Paramount Stage 25, and it was super cool hearing about how they filmed it. They would get the script on a Wednesday and then film on a Friday, and just super snappy stuff that's really cool. Bull and Finch, you can still go there today and get a very overpriced beer and take your photo in front of Cheers. Syndication, everyone has an island. This show was shown in 38 different countries, 179 different U.S. markets, and in its first year of syndication got 83 million viewers in 1993.
Take me to Rita Perlman's Island. Do it.
Going back to Max talking about this being on film versus being on tape, that actually played a gigantic thing, and they had to restore the film because it was being played too much due to the syndication efforts of it, and that was all restored in 2001. Finally, let's talk about awards.
Can I interject with one very quick thing? Is that why they call it Long Island? Because of Shelley.
Oh, God. I did want to mention one thing. This show did have an attempted stage version of the show that debuted in Boston. It did not last a full season. It got shut down after, I think, 2 weeks of performances. Now let's talk about awards. 260 nominations, and that led to 78 wins, including 111 Emmy Award nominations. That led to 28 wins, 31 Golden Globes. That led to 6. And I mean, every main cast member won some form of supporting or main actor in a comedy. I would highly recommend it.
Awards.
Yeah, but no surfboards amongst the Boston Harbor. I'm so sorry to tell you both.
Terrible place to surf.
But that is the history of the show. Rich, it is time for your game of the week.
All right. In addition to the history of the show, let's talk about the history of TVPL. I got a couple third anniversary 150th episode questions for you, and I want to see if you can get it. Geoff, a lot of these are stats based, and as you literally cannot help yourself looking up with stats for the show, if you know it immediately, don't answer.
Okay.
All right. First question. Last year, I told you guys I was getting a special guest and read the email on the air. Who was I trying to get, and for what show?
You were trying to get former Vice President Al Gore, and
What show?
were trying to get him for
The Godfather. Or not Godfather, Sopranos.
The Godfather.
Yeah, The Godfather, the TV show that we all know and love.
yeah,
that was
because
on
Al Gore was flying when the finale was going to air, and HBO got him a special copy of it.
Is this your way of telling us you finally got Al Gore?
Nope, but I think I'm going to email him again this week. All right. Our highest listened guest hosted episode. What is it?
Okay, I know this one off the top of my head. So, Max, who do you think is our most listened to episode?
I'm going to say most listened to episode is going to be, I'm going to say Girls with Rosie Blair.
You were very close.
So
it
close.
is
One
Gilmore
word off.
Girls with Rosie Blair.
It is.
Which
We're currently at, including Apple, Spotify, and YouTube, we are at 1,344 plays.
Yeah. So if you want to get into the fall season, listen to our Gilmore Girls episode, and we'll link that below as a suggested episode to listen to.
Hell yeah. Obviously, our top listening country is the U.S. What's number 2? Is it the U.K., Canada, Australia, Germany, or Ireland?
How fun would it be if it was Australia? But I am going to say it's the UK.
Let's go Ireland.
It is the UK.
All right.
UK and Canada were very, very close. And I'm not sure what happened, but what do you guys think is our second most listened to state in the U.S., and what city do you think it is?
Cleveland. I'm just going to say that.
Yeah, let's go with let's go Minneapolis.
Minnesota is our number 3. However, our number 2 is Tennessee, and the number 1 city for this is Murfreesboro. And we have so many jokes about Middle Tennessee State that we make personally, and Middle Tennessee State has ended up being our second highest listened to zone outside of California.
If anyone in Murfreesboro, Tennessee knows a comedy club that would put up the 3 of us for a live taping in Tennessee for no good reason, and you would come to it, if there's like 20 of you that would come to a comedy club near Middle Tennessee State University.
I will fly out. Let's do it.
I'm just here to say, go Eddie George, coach of the Middle Tennessee Lightning. You're doing a great job.
All right, my last question. This is the one I put the most effort into, so please, I appreciate your patience. I added up all the Instagram followers for every single guest we've ever had on this podcast. That number would be about approximately the population of Latvia, Kosovo, Bahrain, or Trinidad and Tobago.
Latvia.
Bahrain.
All close. It is Kosovo. We had the collective Instagram following of our guests is about, including the podcast that they are on, because some of them don't have personal pages, is 1.75 million followers. And I just want to do a very, very quick shout out. Thank you, Karama Donkwa, JW Crump, Rosie Blair, Brendan Sargent, Mary Kate Singer, Spencer Turbiarte, Rachel McKnight, Dylan and Connor McDowell, John Macheski, John Marco Cerezi, Dylan Adler, Samantha Gutstadt, Anthony Delmeda, Erica Curry, Greg Young, Louis Aronowitz, Zach Pike, Waleed Mansour, Lana Schwartz, Irene Walton, Ilsa Morales, James Coker, Jasper Lewis, Dan Duddy, and our Chief of Medicine, Dr. Raul Flores, our legal counsel, Ben Shute. That is all of our guests. If I missed you, I am so sorry. But yeah, thank you to all of our guests and all of our listeners.
Well, gentlemen, our flight is coming to a land. But before we go, I have 2 questions for each of you. First, would you watch more Cheers based off of the pilot and the pilot alone? And second, I'm not going to ask you about rebooting Cheers. I'm not going to ask you if we need more Jimmy Burrows shows in our lives, because I think all three of us would say yes. I'm going to ask you something a little bit more sentimental, which is we've made it through 150 episodes of the TV Pilot's license. What are you looking forward to over the next year of this podcast? And Rich, I'm going to start you off, as is customary, other than that one time where I really threw you off by having Max go first.
Okay, so obviously watching more Cheers, amazing pilot. We're going to keep going. For this next year of TVPL, I'm excited for the guests. I am excited for the increase in listenership, which has kicked up pretty strongly since this summer. If you look at our numbers, they're like really strong, especially on Spotify. I'm very thankful for all of you guys. Our guests are going to be awesome. We have a couple in the works that I'm very excited about. The guys are very excited about. And I'm definitely also excited for us to eventually do the Hunting Wives. We've all been talking about it for a while. That's going to come up. Everybody buckle up for that one.
Max, what about yourself?
If this isn't a perfect pilot, it's pretty damn close as far as sitcoms go. Mm-hmm. This is an easy yes for me wanting to keep watching. And if you are someone who wants to write sitcoms, this is a pretty good jumping off point. It's a way to go back and just see literally how fundamentals work. Things I'm excited for in the upcoming year. This past year was the first time we did things that had just been airing and like doing stuff as it was coming out, and it was really fun. I loved talking about Paradise in the Pit, and we also covered Running Time, Running Point.
Yeah.
So I am excited to be doing things as they air or as they come back for new seasons, and being a little more like finger on the pulse with TV now that we're wading into those waters.
Definitely.
Yeah, and I will say, Max, I'll one up you and say this is a perfect pilot. This is a pilot where when it ended, I said, "Oh fuck!" I was truly disappointed when this episode ended, and I was just like, "Ooh, okay, let's watch another." But as far as this podcast goes, I am super excited for us to continue to put out really fun stuff that we're proud of. I think that I speak for the three of us when I came up with this dumb idea and approached the two of you on a boat in the middle of the bay of San Diego. You both sort of looked at me like, I guess. And, 3 years in, I think that you are a little bit more bought in than you previously were. So I'm excited to...
Well, we were staring at you like that for reasons that are redacted on this podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't realize that we were redacting them. I was about to ask if you were on drugs.
Oh my Oh my God. But I'm super, what I'll say to our frequent flyers, and if you're here for the first time, this has been a lot of fun. 150 in, and I can't wait for the next 150, in all honesty. We're going to get into some weird shit. We're going to get into shit that you love, and we're going to get into some wacky conversations along the way. Well, gentlemen, that is our flight. But before we go, in case folks want to find some place to follow you outside of this podcast, where would you like folks to find you, and where are you comfortable with them finding you?
Jesus.
You can find me making 2 vodka giblets, 1 straight up, 1 blended rocks, 1 Chivas Rocks soda, a Comfortment hat and hold the cherry, a white wine spritzer with a twist, 1 old Bushmill Irish decaf, hold the sugar, and on all things social media at Maxwell Sing.
One word for that, Max: bars. You can find me being a bitter little person, and you can find me on Instagram at Damn That's Rich. You can find original sketch comedy from Max and I on TikTok at Dadwagon Comedy.
You can find me pitching Subway series and buying the trademark currently as we are speaking. But if you're looking for me on social media, you can find me at Run Geoff Run. If you're looking for the TV Pilot's license, you can find us anywhere you listen to podcasts. You can also see our smiling faces on YouTube. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, share, leave a review. I love reading them. They're always very sweet. Even if they're not sweet, leave a review. I appreciate the engagement. If you have a question for our episode, maybe the next episode, you can always shoot those to tvpilotslicense@gmail.com. You can go on tvpilotslicense.com, or you can shoot us a text and leave us a voicemail at 213-290-1713. Make sure to check watch out for some of the stuff that we have coming up, including some really cool guests and some really fun TV. But with the plane landed and the seatbelt sign off, we look forward to flying the bright skies of the TV world with you again soon. Until next time, keep your eyes on the skies and your fingers on the dial.
Norm!
Well, we hope you enjoyed that episode of Cheers. Rich, what episode are you thankful for?
Well, I gotta go with, and I know I changed mine from when we originally talked, because I was going to pick the Royals, because I love when we shit on something all together. It makes us feel like a big, happy, angry family. But I'm gonna go with our coverage of Paradise. I feel like Paradise is the one show from this year that really I feel like it just like brought us together of just like, we thought this is going to be a shitting on TV episode, but we all collectively love that show so much that we all watched the entire season of it, and we're all really looking forward to season 2. What you had something, Max?
I was gonna say we were so amped for its Emmy nominations and
I know,
crushed by its losses, and yeah, I cannot wait for season 2 of that show.
Yeah. Can't wait. I truly cannot wait to do that show. And if you're like, hey, bring me to Paradise, let's take a ride to Paradise.
I got 2 tickets to Paradise. That's not enough because there's 3 people here.
Hello, passengers, and welcome aboard the TV Pilot's License with service to Paradise. We ask that you please fasten your headphones, secure your podcasting device, and remember that on today's flight, we will be serving Garcia's Pozole. And, if you buy one, you get one. So it's Bogo Pozole. Welcome to the TV Pilot's License. My name is Geoff Kerbis, joined by Rich Inman and Max Singer. How you boys doing today?
I can't believe you just said my Secret Service code name on the podcast opening. What are you? You're putting me at risk.
Yeah. Jeff, this is a podcast about peace and harmony.
Oh my gosh. Well, boys, this week we are going to talk about Hulu's Paradise, which you might have seen on TikTok, you might have seen on X or whatever social media platform you follow. But before we do so, Max, do you mind telling folks what this podcast is all about?
That's right. Though it's cold and lonely in the deep of night, I can see Paradise on the Hulu Live. Welcome to TV Pilot's License, where we talk about the pilots of some of TV's most famous, or in some cases, infamous shows. We learn more about how these shows came to be and were originally made, if they're effective pilots and making us want to watch more, if they can be made today. Go back and stream our old episodes from wherever you listen to podcasts. Check us out on YouTube and TikTok to see our smiling faces. And if it is your first time flying with us, then welcome aboard.
And Rich, what is your question of the week?
Howdy, podcast fans. I want to know, and I want to just like put out a little bit of a spoiler alert for this entire episode. We don't normally do shows that are brand new, but we've been doing them a little bit lately, and we're going to be doing a couple more coming up. So if this is a show that you are interested in watching the pilot, I would say watch the pilot first. We are going to spoil some things. We're going to talk about the whole thing. That's what we're here to do. So this is your mark to pause the podcast and watch the show if you want. Yeah.
We'll wait right here.
Yeah, here's 48 minutes of dead air.
No, Rich, we have to pause.
Okay.
Great podcasting right now.
So Rich, you are 75th in line. Okay, so my question of the week is, if you were in an apocalyptic event, again, spoiler alert, would you rather live and try to figure out how you rebuild society or exist in the society that exists then, or would you rather die? This is the grimmest question of the week that I've had so far. I'm in a weird place. Answer my question.
All right, I'm going to say die. Jeff, you.
Yeah, I'll say live. And that was Rich's question of the week. No, in all honesty, I do think that there is something really, really interesting to the idea of starting over, right? Starting fresh and trying to correct maybe some of the errors that were made in the past when building a society. Maybe capitalism being one of those. So I think that there is an opportunity here. And like, do I think that I'm one of the most important 25,000 people in the world right now? No, Maybe if this podcast does better, so make sure your friends subscribe. But I do think that
Joe and Seth Rogen, if you're listening, have us on.
Yeah, Seth Rogen, please come on.
Yeah, I don't know if humanity operates in the IMDb star meter kind of world where like we're all just on a giant star meter when you think about it.
Max, it does though.
I guess to elaborate on my no, am I in a situation where there is comfort in humanity, or am I in like a Last of Us situation where there's mushroom zombies that are trying to kill me at every turn, in which case I'm a hard out. Yeah. But if it's just a situation where everything else is good, there's just a fraction of the population left, I'm probably still a no.
Yeah, okay. Like if this is a day after tomorrow situation where like everyone, was it that the one where they all live on a boat until the water recedes? Because
you're thinking Noah's Ark. Yeah.
Was that 2012? There's a lot of apocalypse.
No. Noah's Ark was a long time ago, dude.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, I think that there are very different types of apocalypses that exist out there based off of media. If we are going based off of the idea of what we just watched, I think I might be intrigued by the concept of it, but it also then, which we'll talk about, we'll be talking a little bit about the idea of at what cost do you get to move forward and move on, and how that affects you. So, Rich, we've been talking a lot about our thoughts about living post-apocalyptic lifestyles. What is your thought on that?
Oh, dying, buddy. We have the infrastructure of that we rely on to live our lives comfortably. Water, electricity, heat, food, gasoline. Like it is, I mean, I guess you don't really have all that many places to go during an apocalypse unless you like if you have no prey, if you have no predators, I should say. But we're going back to caveman times. That is like whoever can hold the most resources wins. I mean, it's kind of like it is now, but yeah, no way I'm sticking around for that. I don't even like camping for longer than 3 days.
Well, Rich, thank you so much for your question of the week. Let's talk a little bit more about Hulu's Paradise. And we'll start off with a quick synopsis. It's just another day in paradise until Agent Xavier Collins discovers one of the world's most powerful individuals has been viciously murdered. Well, the cat's out of the bag, boys. We're going to be talking about murder today, but before we do so, Max, can you tell us a little bit more about how this show got made?
Hulu's Paradise. It's time to tell you a little more. Hulu's Paradise. All right. Thank you to Ann Wilson and Mike Dean for that. Today we're talking about the pilot of Paradise titled Wildcat is Down, which originally aired on January 26, 2025 on Hulu. And we're talking about the show's creator, Dan Fogelman, a little bit. Perhaps best known for NBC's hit This Is Us, Fogelman is also the writer behind films like Cars, Fred Claus, Bolt, Tangled, The Guilt Trip, and Crazy Stupid Love. Additional
that
TV
is all over the place.
This is the second week in a row we talked about Cars. Ka-chow. Additional TV shows Fogelman is behind include Gallivant, The Neighbors, Grandfathered, and Pitch. Development on Paradise began in 2022 when Fogelman's team reached out to Jonathan Mice, a sociology professor at Boston University who had given a TED Talk on inequality and meritocracy Fogelman had seen. Over 6 months, Fogelman and Mice discussed social sciences and outlined the world and politics for the show that would go on to become Paradise. In April 2023, Hulu commissions the show with a straight-to-series order through Fogelman's overall deal with 20th Century TV. Filming commenced in Los Angeles in April of 24 and served as a This Is Us reunion with star and producer Sterling K. Brown. This show also serves as a Crazy Stupid Love creative reunion with the directing duo of John Requa and Glenn Ficarra helming today's pilot.
Hell yeah.
I
love Crazy Stupid Love.
Insane. If you were to tell me we were going to be talking about the Santa Claus as well as Crazy Stupid Love.
Oh, no. Fred Claus, my friend.
Fred Claus, excuse me. Fred Claus, Crazy Stupid Love, and this show in the same sentence, I'd say you're on something.
Now, you guys are aware of the theory of Cars exists in a post-apocalyptic world where all the cars have been mutated, the humans are dead, right? So this is actually Fogelman's second apocalyptic show.
Yeah, we all know that.
We all know that theory, yeah.
If that turns out to be the post-apocalyptic event that actually happens in this show, and this is in the Cars universe, chefs, masterpiece, like all the kisses.
Yeah, so the cars are all on the surface, and then I won't give away any more.
Let's look a little bit more about this show. And let's start off with the opening and the establishing shots of Sterling K. Brown is the star of this show. This show very much centers around Sterling K. Brown. And
his face takes up 75% of the screen for 75% of the show.
And his abs are the other 25% of your
Damn
screen.
right.
Sterling was getting in his steps for sure before he was filming this pilot. But I'm curious from the perspective of you two. The opening of this is very much, it's just another day. You have a man who very much lives in routine based off of things like getting up at 5:15 in the morning, going on his morning run, seeing and saying hi to his neighbor, an idyllic neighborhood that he is running around as well, seeing and running into a coworker. And it just seems on its front very normal, but also, you know, we talk about TV shows. There has to be something different that is happening. That's the reason why we are here today. That is why we have been dropped into this moment in time. And I'm curious if either of you were sort of eased into the concept of this pilot, or were you just waiting for the other shoe to drop?
It felt a little too Stepford Wives for me. I would like for me to be like, I knew something crazy was about to happen. Like that was not, there was nothing about, you don't watch anyone go on about their day on TV. Like they don't just put that on there. Something weird's about to happen. But I think we're following yet another week. I'm going to talk about Severance. We're following another pattern of like, I know Severance wasn't the first show to do this, but it's kind of like an unraveling pilot of just like, here's something. We're not going to tell you what it is. We're going to show it to you over a very slow, gradual period of time. What's actually happening here? It's just, it just felt like that was it's very of that ilk, I would say. What do you think, Max?
Well, I think it's the 10-hour movie phenomenon of TV where nothing in this feels like your typical pilot where we're building out the world. We're meeting a lot of people really quick. Like this is a slow unraveling. It feels like the beginning of a feature in a lot of ways. And obviously Fogelman, very established, cinema writer, Requa, very established cinema director. And it feels like we're teasing the beginning of a movie. And so for me, it's this slow burn. But if you want to start to make today feel different, a really good line to do that is just to have someone say, Mr. President. Yep. Like that just immediately raises the stakes. I don't even need to know what comes after Mr. President. You can say anything after Mr. President, but it's raised the stakes to a point where now I'm interested.
Yeah, and I think that there's something to Rich when you were talking about the Stepford Wives, right? And that this show, the opening feels extremely sterile. And extremely organized. Almost
love that WB lot, baby.
But the moment that everything changes, right? There's two moments. One, we get some poop humor, which I wasn't expecting, but almost sort of needed. Billy in this episode was a odd duck as far as the rest of the cast, but also welcomed comedy. But then we also find out there's been a murder, and it's
what?
A murder most foul.
And I love that while we never meet the James Marsden's character of Cal, who was the president, alive, we instantly get that moment of almost the first meeting between Xavier and Cal to establish what the chemistry was and what the relationship was between these two people. And before I let Max or Rich talk about this, I just got to say, the chemistry between these two characters is why I can see that this show was taken from a pilot into a series, because it is phenomenal. If you're not into this type of show normally, just watch the pilot for the chemistry between Sterling K. Brown and James Marsden, because I was bought in immediately from that first scene.
Well, Jeff, you mentioned a flashback scene, and oh, what? You thought Dan Fogelman of This Is Us was going to write a drama in normal linear fashion?
Oh.
You
Yeah.
stupid idiot. You idiots, you bozos. No, we're talking non-linear storytelling. We're talking flashbacks and present days and everything in between. You want to write a Dan Fogelman pilot? You take all of your cards of all of your beats and you throw them in the air, and then you just organize them, and that's how you write a Dan Fogelman show.
Hell yeah. You turn that TV on, you throw away your clock right now.
So let's talk a little bit more about this flashback scene, though, because I think that this flashback gives us a really good sense of not only the chemistry between these two actors, but also the relationship between them as well. And the thing that I point to directly is the first line that James Marsden's character says to Sterling K. Brown is, "Take your shoes off," right? And it is almost, it's very just like out of nowhere.
Sure.
And we later see that Sterling K. Brown's shoes were untied. Yeah. And it is very much that I am a soldier. I am very much in this moment here to do whatever you say, and I will listen and I will complete it. And it seems that it has taken a negative effect on their relationship as we move forward in the pilot. But I'm curious if you both were as bought in as I was after this job interview of sorts that we see in the Oval Office. Richard, nodding your head, yes. I want to hear more.
Oh yeah, James Marsden dropping the shoes off prank line was so funny to me, and then following that up with, "I got the last guy to sit on the floor." Like I could not stop laughing at that. Do you think God help us if any of the three of us get the presidency, but
That's not fucking happening.
I mean, you got how could you not fuck with people, right? Like I saw, it felt very reminiscent of like when Obama was in office, because he used to screw with Secret Service agents like that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, for me, it shows that James Marsden's character is human in the same way that Sterling K. Brown joking around with Billy, it was very human. It was like, I know that I am a guy. I am just a guy. And I know that I'm tasked with something that is far beyond something a guy should really be tasked with. It made it felt very friendly, workplace friendly. It was like, we know that there is this line of formality between us. You have to call me sir. I have to call you Agent Collins, etc. That is that won't change, but we're about to spend a lot of time together. It's the same way that Martin Sheen would talk to I'm gonna lose my mind for forgetting his name, his bagman in The West Wing, if you guys remember, the guy who was on Psych.
DeLay Hill.
DeLay Hill, thank you. Wow, that's embarrassing. I can't believe I forgot his name. It's very much that. It's like, I know that there is going to be this veil of this is the office. I have to be this guy, but we're cool. I like you said, Jeff, watch the show strictly for the chemistry between Sterling K. Brown and James Marsden.
So we get this amazing chemistry, right? But then this show has many different tones that it takes. And Max, I'm curious for you, when you see the switch from, we get this Stepford Wives sort of tone in the beginning, we see a murder, we get this political thriller tone from this interview, and then we immediately go into drama investigation, 24-esque vibe with some very interesting camera shooting. How do you feel about that? And are you feeling a little bit of a whiplash from going from theme to theme?
I wouldn't say that I'm feeling whiplash. I think that they do a good job of clearly identifying the times that you're in, so that you understand how we're moving through the story and how we're choosing to tell it. I think it is interesting how slow we unravel things, though, and how fragmented we speak, and it's a lot of code words, things that we get to understand why certain code words are being used and what their meanings are as the episode goes on. But essentially, we have a dead body, but not just any dead body. We have a robbery. We have a safe. and a separate secure black box that have been raided, and we have a lockdown, and we have nothing else really beyond that. And we're kind of just like piecing everything else together as if it's just a normal day. Like, this is so on the level, under wraps. It doesn't have that big, heightened, bombastic feel. We're not doing, over the top espionage. It's very calm. It's like almost concerningly calm. And I think all of Paradise wants to lull you into senses of security that like everything is on the level, everything is under control, so that when it does choose to kind of pull the rug out from under you a little bit, it feels wilder.
Yeah, I think, Max, we talked about this like quite a bit on the show about the 10-hour movie aspect of so many of these shows being made right now. Hurry the fuck up. I'm sorry. It's just like what about our nature to have a clean 10 episodes is so compelling to everyone. Like, it doesn't have to be that way. It could be 12. It could be 6. It could be 24. If you want to do 24 episodes in the season, like they used to do with Friends and stuff like that, do it. But
and every episode should be an hour in real time.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing, Rich, is we'll talk about history of the show in a bit, but this is an 8-episode season. So, and episodes
We're just making up numbers now.
From like 48 to 54 minutes. So there's not really much continuity amongst these episodes. As far as, let's talk about the political aspect of this. Because during our investigation, right, this investigation scene, we start to get a lot more exposition of these characters and a lot more understanding of these characters. And I think one of the really interesting things that this show has done is, while James Marsden is the president, he got elected, and it sounds like he got elected to his second term, barely, even though he is one of the richest men in the world, and there's some clues that are given to us. He's not really the greatest guy, if that makes sense. There's all of these clues that he may or may not have a drinking problem due to the stress of the job that he has. He potentially is racist, which is like, the show does not really skirt around. They sort of address it head on in that interview scene. And it seems like he does not have a good relationship with his family either. Is that compelling to you, to take this person of authority in the current age that we're in and say, let's make him not the most likable?
Oh, see, I think we had different takeaways here, because I saw this guy who, he drinks whiskey, he smokes cigarettes, he talks about college basketball, he takes some strays at Golden Doodles, which I didn't appreciate, but basically we're asking, what if a U.S. president was cool as hell, and he talked about college hoops, and he drank Blanton's, and he ripped heaters all day, and then he was the leader of the free world.
That was Obama for a minute.
We're talking about college basketball and ripping heaters.
Yeah. Remember, he used to it was like a big deal when he quit smoking. I really do love his portrayal of this. I thought it's very clear that they set up the specifics of him just getting reelected president, plus being 5 years in the past. So they made that intentionally ambiguous to say, like, so he's not president, right? He's not, right? Because, like, if there is a thing coming, he's a former president. This is him in his retirement mode kind of thing. But there's something weird about it that makes it, that really does make it feel like, oh, is this person still in charge? You really don't know. And yeah, it is, I don't know. They make it intentionally confusing to put together a timeline, which feels, oh God, it's so This Is Us. We're going to do the pilot at some point, but I could not watch This Is Us because they just kept screwing with my trust of the show. It's the most unreliable narrator show there is.
So one of the things that happens in this show is we very quickly learn that we're not supposed to trust anyone during the midst of this investigation. Like, Xavier literally says, I'm calling Billy because that's the only person I trust. There are multiple agents around. We hear a little bit about Jane and are sort of left with this mystery of what does Jane know or did not know.
Right.
In this, we understand that Billy possibly has a hand in this entire gigantic mystery. But we start to see these glimpses of these other characters, like Agent Robinson. This woman just goes by the name of Sinatra, who seems to be this powerful figure. It's very interesting to give us so much without so much explanation that seems necessary for us to be like, yeah, I'm definitely following everything that's happening right now. There were points in this where I was just like, did I fall asleep for 2 minutes when they said who this person and this person was?
No.
I trust Garcia. That's my boy.
Garcia's
because
the man.
he makes enough Pozzoli to share with everyone at the Secret Service.
Yes, he does.
He's willing to pull up any footage that Xavier Collins asks for at the drop of a hat and notices nuances in the footage that actually help lead to clues. He just seems like a fun, affable guy. Actually, Jeff, it's funny that you mentioned, did I fall asleep? Because as you know, I've got a 3-month-old at home, so I'm pretty tired watching a lot of these shows. And I was watching the pilot of this with my wife, and she fell asleep and woke up and was like, what did I miss? The last thing I remember was he got shot, he ate McDonald's, showed off all of his outfits. And I was like, maybe this isn't the pilot. I don't know. Maybe I fell asleep too.
I mean, as we sort of think about towards the end of this pilot, right? We get the reveals of there's a few clues that are given to us of hey, you can't take anything, memorize every single detail you see. We start to hyper focus on those small details that we see, and it is such an interesting idea of trying to connect this to what actually happened and why is Xavier not calling it in immediately. That was the part that was super intriguing to me, because at this point, our big reveal has not really happened. You might be thinking to yourself, if you haven't watched this pilot, and you're like, what's the big reveal? The president's dead. There's more.
I personally thought... Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, Rich.
I personally thought that exact moment where he doesn't call it in, where Xavier doesn't call it in, that's Sterling K. Brown's character, for those who haven't watched. I think the moment he doesn't call it in is where we get the watching someone be good at their job aspect of it, because he knows no one went in and out. So you can't alert the Secret Service. You can't alert the family. Those are the only people who have been in and out. And I think he does a good job of not making it a fiasco and instead tries to control the situation. I think this also, and I'll probably be proven wrong later in the series about this, but it also feels like it proves Sterling K. Brown's innocence to me. And at that moment too, you get a couple red herrings. You get a couple, well, maybe red herrings. You know that one of the agents is fucking James Marsden's character, Cal, the president. You find out that Jane and Billy are passing something to each other clandestinely through their hands. And yeah, there's just a lot of people who do go in and out, and the scene obviously of them going down to Angel to review the security footage.
Was that a pass off of something, or
Yeah.
was that a hand touch? Was that a romantic inclination?
I thought they were passing something.
Yeah, I'm not sure either, because I thought it was a romantic thing as well, Max, but who knows? Maybe you have to watch more than the pilot.
Yeah,
Because if Billy is making you cover his shift because he has to go home and take a dump because he's blaming the Pozzoli because he's got the white people tummy, and then you're also romantically involved with that guy, that asshole. I'm sorry, we need to have a discussion about this.
Max, wait a minute. You're telling me that you have never found yourself in a little bit of a tumultuous tummy time and asked your partner to help you with something in the meantime?
Your daughter actually has to have tumultuous tummy time in a second.
Yeah, exactly.
I think you were talking about red herrings, though, Rich, and I wanted to jump onto that because, yeah, for me, Paradise, the first 30-ish minutes of this, I'm not entirely sold by this out of linear order political thriller murder mystery, and then we start just dropping one big crumb after another. Yeah, we get that the president or former president of the United States is having, relations with an agent who is employed by him, and that person is now interrogating Agent Collins, played by Sterling K. Brown. We get that he is the last person seen on the tapes, and there's a 90-minute gap in the video footage from the night of the murder that we don't know what happened. And then we get maybe my favorite little potential red herring or exposition line, which is a flashback scene of the black box, which we saw stolen from President Bradford's closet. We see that, and it is placed on the table with the line, "That's the most important box in the world," which if you say that line to me, I am sold. The moment that the box was placed on the table in front of Sterling K. Brown with "That's the most important box in the world," I said, yes, I will watch episode 2 of this show.
So I want to bring up 2 other things that we saw, because we get all these flashbacks, right? We get this flashback at the beginning where we see Sterling K. Brown with this scar. If you're going to show me a gigantic scar on someone, you need to show me how that scar happens. And we see the attempted
20 minutes
assassination.
Or this TV's going off.
And we also learn about the code name of Christian Leitner. Yes, it is March, so we have to bring up college basketball.
This is our basketball show.
The other one that really, there's this moment that I really liked, and it's another flashback, and I'm sorry that I really like the flashbacks. I am that type of person. But we get the flashback where we see this argument between Sterling K. Brown and James Marsden's characters. And you can tell that at some point in time, the trust between them disintegrated. There is the respect between them disintegrated. And it starts off with, "When was the last time you called me sir? When did you stop calling me sir?"
Right.
And that was when I was just like, we're about to see some big boy acting right now. And boy, did we get it. And with the ending line of I'll forgive you when I can sleep, and I'll sleep again when you are dead. And I was like, holy shit. There was like probably silence in the room after that for a little bit. Everyone walked away, went to craft, got a snack, and then we're like, okay, let's film the next scene.
Yeah.
Because that then gave us the idea of what the fuck happened in this moment, and why is this situation? Why are we in this world? What is happening? Why is this day different than every other day? And to our audience, I think we have to do you the benefit of the doubt of saying, we're about to talk about something very large that happened in this pilot. And if you would like to not hear this happen, I'm going to put the time code in the description, but I'm also going to put the time code on the screen for our YouTube folks, and you can skip ahead to that. But, gentlemen, let's talk about the big reveal of what happens in this show. Max, I'm going to let you give us our reveal.
There is a teasing when the most important box in the world is placed on the table that there is preparation for a potential catastrophic doomsday event, an extinction-level event. They are preparing to build an underground city in the mountains of Colorado, something that is alluded to in the earlier assassination attempt as causing protests around the country. There's distrust of the American government around this, and we learned that we are living in paradise, the underground bunker city. Very similar to, what if that show, The Dome, was underground?
Under the dome.
Under the dome. Under the ground dome.
Which we will cover. And, yeah, at this point, when they reveal that, when you know that they are inside of a Rocky Mountain, what are you guys feeling in that moment? Are you throwing your phone down? Are you just like sitting there like, I am bought in? What is the feeling?
Can I genuinely tell you both what I said? When I saw them flipping the fake ducks over in the pond, I said, Rich is losing his mind and angrily talking to his partner about what the fuck did I just watch?
All of my notes became caps lock at this point.
You Mac, are exactly right. I was furious when the ducks were fake.
When Rich saw those ducks flip over, he said, "Are you fucking serious?" and was screaming, probably aloud, waking up neighbors. And then Max texted us with 5 minutes to go. I got a text nearly midnight my time, and I was just like, "Oh, Max saw the Ducks flip. Cool, we can talk about this tomorrow."
My notes in all caps become, why is there a secret message on the cigarette? What does dawn delayed by 2 hours mean? Doomsday event, underground city, reveal shot, just all caps lock thoughts. There is also one of my favorite things in all of showbiz, a minor key pop song needle drop. We get a slow, ballady minor key cover of Another Day in Paradise by Phil Collins. Baby, Smooth Brain TV is back, and it is called Paradise on Hulu.
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, we've revealed it. For the folks who maybe
there it is.
Maybe were watching and waiting for me to give a hand signal. Hi, we're back, and you can listen again. I mean, that is our pilot. There are a lot of unanswered questions, which is to be expected with a show like this. But I'm curious from the two of you, were there any things that you loved about this pilot that maybe you wanted to give a little bit more shine?
Oh, yeah. Number one, Sterling K. Brown's face control for his acting is like near robotic. It is insane how good he is at handling a close-up shot of him acting. He knows how to portray fear, distrust, anxiety. It is so impressive what he is able to do, and that they can feel comfortable enough to build scenes around him just being the only thing you see. It is literally like, I wasn't joking when I said 75% of the screen was his face. That is super impressive, especially with all the like 4K resolution HD stuff is like the norm now for TVs. Mm-hmm. That is super impressive. I really just thought he did an amazing job with that.
Max, what about yourself?
I mean, I think it has to be that, Dub TV is back in a big way, in a way that I don't know if we've really seen since the early 2000s. This scratches that itch for me of some of those types of shows we've done. If you were told me when this was coming out that, okay, it's a political thriller and Sterling K. Brown's a Secret Service agent and James Marsden's the president, I don't think I was super hyped on Paradise when I was seeing trailers. James Marsden has proved me so wrong. I don't know if he's a good U.S. president, but I love watching him in this show. I love all of the product placement for electric vehicles. There's just Rivians all over this show. Like all the Secret Service is driving Rivians. I love when there's just blatant product placement for like cool new brands. Like I've been watching St. Dennis Medical, and every single time they're in the break room, everyone's slamming poppies. Like everyone, every single day is drinking poppies on
the
that
probiotic
show.
soda. Is that the one?
Yeah, and it's just so funny when it's like, here's some cool hit brand that really wanted their logo front and centered. Also, I shouldn't have, but when I realized that the code of the president being shot, Christian Laettner, is because of the story about Christian Laettner's being shot, I did laugh at that. I did laugh at the Secret Service code for James Marsden getting shot.
Wait, okay, so Max, when you sat through an entire episode of 9/11 or 911, not 9/11, 911,
we all sat through 9/11. Right?
You didn't think that Dum Dum TV was back?
No, but here's the thing about 911 is that 911 is so extreme. It's this like Ryan Murphy intentional camp. It's playing like 911 almost exists in the same world as like a Baywatch, whereas this is playing into like prestige TV drama with this insane twist at the end. 911 shows you its cards from the first 30 seconds, whereas this is this slow burn, this slow reveal that feels so grounded, and then it just says, we're actually in this insane world, and then the ducks are fake.
Birds aren't real.
Yeah.
We are a pro birds aren't real podcast.
Dawn will be delayed by 2 hours. 911 could never.
Yeah. I want to give my flowers to the performances in this show, but specifically in a show that is so serious, right? Like there are many moments that try to make it extremely serious and be like,
so serious.
You better take us fucking seriously. Like there are the performance by John Beavers as Billy, Agent Williams, is just so out of place. But you know what? He commits 100%. My man filmed a scene on the toilet and was just like, all right, I'm getting paid for this. And he nailed it. And I think that is sort of necessary to have this little bit of relief in such a serious show.
Well, he did have a little bit of relief. That's why he was filming on the toilet.
That Pozzoli. That Pozzoli sounds fucking bomb. Let's talk a little bit about wait a minute moments, things that caused you pause. And for me, if we're talking about the show as a pilot, there is something to say about there being almost too much exposition, like almost giving us too much in the beginning. I don't think we needed to meet Sinatra quite yet. We didn't need to meet Agent Robinson right at the beginning. It would have been really good to just be like, who the fuck is that? Like, who are they? What do they have to do? Why? Like, and then get a reveal maybe in episode 2 about them. But there's something to be said about being delicate about introducing characters and waiting for that moment. I think that this show does suffer from that idea of like, well, if we don't introduce them, then the executives might not want more of this, and that's a problem.
Yeah.
Rich, I'm curious from your perspective.
For me, okay, number one has to be James Marsden's accent. I have, maybe we have made accent coaches too accessible in Hollywood. That clearly the talent pool is watered down because what the hell is his accent in this? The main one, though, is like I should have realized when we watched this show that this guy created This Is Us because it is having the exact same feeling for me as This Is Us, where every reveal is like, fuck, really? He just like, it wasn't exciting. It's just, fuck, damn it. It is truly like, I don't know. It's like the glass. It's like the glass game in Squid Game where they're like over. It's like, is this glass pane important? No. Is this glass pane important? No. This one is. All right, go with that. Now, is this one important? No. Fall to your death. And it's like, oh god, so much information, and he knows what he's doing. Is just like, it's like the way he writes, especially for This Is Us in this show. It just feels like when someone comes up to you and is like, dude, crazy tea, I got to tell you. And it's like, nah, I'm not going to tell you. And then walks away. And it's like, I don't give a shit what it is. You want to hear it. It's like, sure. It's not actually, it's conflating the importance of things. I don't know. What about you, Max?
I think for me, it's that there's too many resources from Hulu itself that are telling you what the twists are in this show before you even get a chance to watch it. Like if you like look up the episode descriptions on Hulu, it like tells you that there's been, catastrophic events and things. I think there's something to be said for letting a story unravel and actually catching an audience off guard versus luring you in by saying things like, there's been a murder of a U.S. president and like a catastrophic event and things like that. Like, I don't know, just like trust an audience that we're going to check out a show or that word of mouth is going to carry something. Because like everyone is talking about this show. Like I see so much stuff about Paradise on social media and I didn't know about some of these details. And then the second I go to Hulu, it's all laid out there for me. And it's like, I don't know. I was finding out from word of mouth. I was excited to check it out. And then I kind of knew what I was getting going into it. And I don't know, just let secrets be secrets. Let twists happen organically. Trust word of mouth. Trust that people will watch shows. We don't need to be spoon-fed twists written out.
Well, we do have one more question, gentlemen. And that is an in-flight question. Our in-flight question this week came in from Alex of Ohio. And Alex asked, what's the deal with Jane? Do we trust her? Do we think that she's up to no good? But I want to expand this. And Alex, thank you so much for your question, because we did get a little bit of Jane. We did get a little bit of a reason to suspect Jane of maybe doing and being up to no good. But I'm curious if you have someone that you think, based off of our 48-minute pilot that you think killed the president? Did we meet them? Or are they just out there and we have to watch episode 2 to find them?
If I know this showrunner well enough, we did not meet anyone involved in this yet. And that is so fucking frustrating. I cannot tell you. These are a bunch of people who are super inconsequential. The Billy and Jane touching hands is probably them passing each other. It's like, we don't have Netflix down here in the fucking dome. So
I hope he watched his hands.
Yeah, dude's got shit Pozzola hands.
Max, what about yourself?
Oh, no, I have no idea who murdered the president because we have not met them yet. This show's already been renewed for a second season, so there's no way we're giving away that big of a detail in season 1. That's how you get those sweet Disney bucks for season 2, is you don't tell them who murdered the president.
Yeah, I really hope both of you are right that we have not met the murderer, the assassin of the president, because it's a little bit more fun that way to find out, like, oh, what actually happened? You would never guess or never understand. I hope there's 3 or 4 more twists ready to go.
But Alex, I do want to answer your question. I don't just want to like blow you off entirely here. I think that Jade is one of the few people who can be trusted off of the pilot. And I say that only because she's one of the few characters that we just like don't see in an interrogation setting, and I feel like I don't know, maybe I'm naive here, but she actually seems to have camaraderie with Collins, like on the outside of the building as well. Sure. It feels like a situation of like a younger mentor-mentee relationship. He's not letting her in on a lot, but I think it's more of like a status thing. I would be really surprised if she's a rug pull in this one, but again, maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe. Yeah. Well, gentlemen,
we'll never know.
Alex, thank you first for that awesome
you,
question. We'll talk a little bit more about how to submit those at the end of the episode. But let's talk about the history of this show. Super short, super sweet. 1 season in 8 episodes, but as of February 25th,
400 surfboards.
This show got renewed for a 2nd season. So we're getting more Paradise, whether we like it or not.
We got 2 seasons of Paradise.
So as far as
we've got more Paradise, whether you like it or not, is the most sinister thing ever said on this podcast.
So I do have some actually interesting things to talk about as far as the history. This show made me learn about a new product. It's actually called Just Watch. So Just Watch allows you to see streaming behavior of viewers around the world, and you can actually look on a country by country basis as well. So this show for about 2 weeks was the most streamed show in the United States and in Canada. And according to Walt Disney, in the first 7 days of this show, they got 7 million viewers, which is really pretty solid for a streaming service.
Incredible that he chimed in on the streaming data.
And then the other part is this show not only debuted on Hulu, but it also debuted on ABC and FX.
Oh, it did? Oh, thank God, because this show needed to be on network so bad.
Like, Disney literally looked at this and was just like, one of these networks has to work for us. I'm really excited for Paradise to show up on ESPN2 to make up for the lack of baseball coverage.
There's a lot of talk about college basketball in it.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I find it really interesting that we're coming back up to this conversation of Disney just keeps on saying, that streamer might have something, so let's put it on TV and fill some slots rather than
just put it on ABC. This show needs to be seen by like 70-year-olds across the heartland of America.
I need ad breaks in this show. I think that an ad break would hit like crack on this show, where you're just where he says
where you're just like ready to throw the remote through the TV ad break.
Where like I'm literally like, I'll sleep when you're dead, and then just I get a Geico commercial, and I'm like, fuck yeah. And then
I need to fall asleep, and the 10 p.m. news is on.
Oh, my gosh. Well, that is the history of the show. Rich, it is time for your game of the week.
Well, speaking of Christian Laettner, we got some 1992 Dream Team trivia.
Fuck yes.
Let's go.
Indeed.
Yeah, you little piggies eat up this slop. Oh, shit. All right. So, yeah, we're talking about the greatest basketball team ever assembled. Thanks to James Marsden's college basketball remarks in this pilot. This team was put together for the 1992 Barcelona Olympics and the America Cup or America Games or whatever the hell that other tournament was called. All right. So, which of these facts about the Dream Team are false? A, every single member of the Dream Team is in the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. B, every game they played in both tournaments, they won at least by 30. C, Christian Laettner, a college athlete chosen as a nod to the previous rules of Olympic drafting, was the only player that was not an active NBA player. Or D, all are false.
Oh, God. That's a really good question, Rich. I assume you've been catching up on your Court of Gold about the most recent.
I'm going to say that A is the false statement.
Yeah, I want to say A, but I think that Christian Laettner might be in the Naismith for the Duke, for his time at Duke. So I am going to say, you know what? Fuck it. I get this wrong all the time. I'm going to say A as well. Let's go.
Well, Geoff, your initial insight was correct. He is in the Naismith Hall of Fame. It's kind of a trick question because he's in it because of the Dream Team.
Yeah.
But C is correct. Christian Laettner was not the only inactive NBA player. It was Magic Johnson, who had just retired because of his AIDS diagnosis.
Inactive. I was thinking of just college athletes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a fun question. I had fun writing it.
That's a really
you
solid
piggies
question.
eat up this slop.
Dark twist. Paradise to be proud.
Yeah.
All right, back to Christian Laettner. Despite being picked for the Dream Team over many other top college athletes in a stacked 1992 draft, what pick was he in the 1992 draft? Was it A, second, B, third, C, sixth, or D, seventh?
I'm going to say C, sixth.
I think he was the third pick.
He was
draft.
the third overall pick. Is Shaquille O'Neal and Alonzo Mourning.
Yeah, and then he was drafted by the Timberwolves.
That's right.
That went great. A+. Actually, fun fact about I'm going to throw in a fact about this.
Please.
When Christian Laettner was for a very small period of time on the bench, like way in the back of the bench of the Miami Heat, and it was the first instance ever of the first, second, and third round pick of any draft being on one NBA team, which is
cool.
It's what a fun fact, but it's also so fucking cool.
Wait,
Geoff, are you bleeding?
I am bleeding.
Wait, what?
Are you bleeding?
Let's talk about that another time. And this is
That's a paradise level cliffhanger for this audio medium.
Wait, hold on a second. So if you didn't go join us on YouTube for me driving hot laps at Spa last week, please join us on YouTube to see why is Geoff bleeding, which we will hold.
At what point did I start bleeding?
Is that question of the week or game of the week?
Game of the week. At what point did Geoff start bleeding? Was it 15 minutes in, 30 minutes in, or 45 minutes into the podcast?
Good God.
Oh
okay.
My God.
Final question. No, it doesn't seem as important now, but the scoring leader for the Dream Team in the Olympics was A, Charles Barkley, B, Clyde Drexler, C, Michael Jordan, D, Patrick Ewing.
It was Charles Barkley.
That's right. Big San Antonio himself, Charles Barkley. That is correct, Geoff.
Round mound of rebound.
Yeah. Do we need to get medical attention? What's going on?
No, we
here?
do not.
Okay.
Well, Rich, thank you so much for that.
You're so welcome.
Game of the week.
We're going to do this podcast uploaded out of order in Dan Fogelman style. So Jeff's bleeding at the beginning, and then we figure out why he's bleeding in next week's episode.
Oh, my God. Well, gentlemen, our flight is starting to come to a land. But before we
it had to
go,
get rerouted because you're bleeding.
Yeah, no, we had to make an emergency landing. Before we go, I have two questions for each of you. And the first question is, why am I bleeding? No, in all honesty.
Is it A, picked a scab, B,
bruised his knuckle? No, in all honesty, it is first. Based off of the pilot and the pilot alone, would you watch more Paradise? Were you intrigued? Were you wanting more answers to your questions. As Rich said, do you want that slop? Do you want that smooth brain slop to fill up your time? And the second question that I have for each of you is, streaming continues to put shit on TV and put shit on network television. And I am here to ask you, do you think this show should just be a network TV show that happens to stream occasionally, or the season comes at the end, or Hulu next day? Max, I'm going to start with you because you got really excited when I asked that second question.
If you asked me at 10 minutes in, I would have said no. If you asked me at 20 minutes in, I would have said no. If you asked me at 30 minutes in, I would have said no. If you asked me from 40 minutes to the end, I said a resounding hell yes. This is a show that when it kicks into gear, I am hooked. It is such a goofy throwback to early 2000s thrillers. If you like stuff like Alias, Lost, 24, stuff that's just like so over the top and you have to like see how it gets pieced together, you will appreciate this show. And yes, this should just be on network TV. I know Hulu, for the most part, with the exception of a couple of things like The Bear, does tend to drop episodically, or at least like a couple episodes up front and then once a week after that. But no, I need a full week of seeing commercials for next week's episode every time I watch Jeopardy at 7 o'clock. I need Paradise to exist in true network fashion so bad, and Disney is doing a disservice by putting the show behind a paywall and not on basic network at 9 o'clock on Thursday nights.
Rich, what about yourself?
Yeah, I'm watching more.
He's so sad. He's like,
bitch.
I'm sophisticated. No, he is smooth brain just like the rest of us.
I cannot help the feeling of Lucy pulling away the football all fucking every goddamn week. I will watch the show until he burns my trust, like I did This Is Us, and he got 2 seasons of This Is Us out of me. So, so good for him, you swindler. Yeah, we can continue to use the streamers as like a minor leagues for network TV. It can't just be that dude who keeps making the shows about oil rigging or whatever the hell.
Inman?
Yeah. That's just one of them. And that's a spinoff. It can't just be those shows. Test out the slop before you feed it to your piggies, I guess.
Yeah, and Rich, first, I already watched episode 2, so jokes on you too.
I am shocked that you were able to hold that in.
Yeah, jokes on you.
That's why he's bleeding.
Something happens in episode 2.
Yeah, but he would be bleeding out of the eyes, Max.
Oh my god. No, I watched episode 2. This show has something that, Max, you hit on. It has that early 2000s, I have to see what happens next. And it has something that we haven't talked about in a while, which is it has that water cooler feeling. It has that feeling of, I could go into an office and say, did y'all see what the fuck happened on Paradise last night?
Right. And
everyone would stop in their tracks and be like, holy shit, let's not work for the next 10 minutes and just talk about this show. As far as network TV versus streaming, and we keep on bringing this up because it keeps on fucking happening, I think that it is a case where there's something to be said if you see good enough numbers on a streaming service for your show. Like if Paradise, let's just say we wait the appropriate 4 months, and which is the amount of time that 8 episodes would probably take for this type of show, given everything that happens. And March is sort of a dead month for TV because of March Madness. I think that you have to sort of give the show the opportunity to go to the big leagues and start on network and then show the replays on streaming the next day. And I hope we start to see, hey, guess what? Paradise is going to be an ABC primetime show. If you want to catch up on the first season, you can catch it on Hulu, sort of thing. Because this show has what it takes. It just needs to change its language a little bit. They say the F word in this show so many fucking times that it is wild. And that's the only thing that I would change. That is the only thing that really needs to change in this episode for us to be able to be like, yep, network TV, go and have a fun time. It's a small change. There's a lot of different synonyms that you can use. Buy a fucking thesaurus.
You said the word.
But gentlemen, that is our flight. Before I ask you where the audience can find you, I'm really excited to say, Max, you know, they say that basketball is my favorite sport. I like it when they dribble up and down the court. We're going to be doing Running Point next week starring Kate Hudson, and I cannot wait to talk more about this show. If you want to watch it before you listen, it is on Netflix, but we're honoring March Madness, baby. We're going to be talking about basketball and potential lawsuits between the Bus family and Netflix, or at least Pepperdine and Netflix. With that being said, though, gentlemen, our flight has come to a land, and I'd like folks to know where they can find the two of you. Rich, where can folks find you?
You can find me being America's funniest president. You can also find me on Instagram at Damn That's Rich. You can find original sketch comedy from Max and myself on Instagram and TikTok at Dadwagon Comedy.
Max, where can folks find you?
You can catch me learning everything about the Kentucky Wildcats for President James Marsden. You can find me on all things social media at Maxwell Sig.
And you can catch me bleeding, but if you're looking for me on social media, you can find me at Run Jeff Run. If you're looking for the TV Pilot's License, you can find us anywhere you listen to podcasts. You can also watch our smiling faces on YouTube and follow us on social media if it is available for you. If you have a question about the show or for our next episode, you can always submit them at tvpilotslicense.com. You can give us a text or shoot us a voicemail at 213-290-1713. You can also always get into those DMs. Make sure to watch out for some of the sneak previews of some of the stuff we have coming up, including Running Point on Netflix. But with the plane landed and the seatbelt sign off, we look forward to flying the bright skies of the TV world with you soon. Until next time,
the ducks are fake.
On the skies and your fingers on the dial, and enjoy another day in paradise.
The ducks are.
Well, that was paradise. I get the honor of giving you the last episode that you can listen to avoid your family and whatever arguments you're having at your Thanksgiving dinner table. And I had a lot of choices, right? I loved when we recorded together and we did our Ask Me Anything all in-flight questions. I thought that was so much fun. But it is Thanksgiving, and I think that we have to take a little ride to Gilmore Girls, our episode that we did with Rosie Blair. It is it is a cozy fall feeling of a show, and it's one of my favorite episodes we've ever recorded because it's one of my favorite shows of all time. So why don't we
Rosie
go?
rules.
Rosie rules. Go and make sure to follow her wherever she can be found. But let's go and check out Gilmore Girls. Hello, passengers, and welcome aboard the TV Pilot's License. With service to Stars Hollow, Connecticut, we ask that you please fasten your headphones, secure your podcasting device, and remember, on this flight, while we do want you to be as comfortable as possible, we do reserve the right to limit your coffee intake if we notice you begin to speak in hyperspeed. Welcome to the TV Pilot's License. My name is Geoff Kerbis, joined by Rich Inman and Max Singer. How are you boys doing today?
Oh my god, Jeff, I am so good. It is episode 100. We are talking about my home state of Connecticut. I could not feel better today on this recording.
And Rich, how are you doing based off of your zero affiliation to Connecticut?
Yeah, Max is just instinctively growing cardigans. I would just say if you are listening for the real Gilmore Girls experience, listen to this podcast on 2.5 speed. So yeah, it is. This is a lot. I can't imagine this script is smaller than 100 pages.
Oh, gosh. Well, boys, we are celebrating our 100th episode of TV Pilot's License, the podcast today, which is absolutely bonkers. But while we are celebrating, it only feels appropriate that for our 100th episode, we bring on a guest pilot. But wait, it appears there is a new girl walking the halls of Stars Hollow High. And according to Miss Patty, she is mysterious, yet approachable. Our guest is a comedian, content creator, fashion icon, and when asked about cutesy versus demure, she said, Why not both? Please welcome Rosie Blair. Rosie.
That's the best intro ever. It was themed. It was sassy. It was nebulous. It was so many different things all together.
I thought you wrote that for Geoff. That's so funny.
No, I enjoyed that appraisal of myself deeply. I might put that in my bio, honestly.
Oh my gosh. Well, Rosie, thank you so much for joining us for our 100th episode. And when we asked you to come back on the pod, you were talking about how you are feeling fall and feeling Gilmore Girls. Can you tell us a little bit about your relationship with Gilmore Girls before we talk about it more on the podcast?
I feel like I'm in a unique generational position to experience a Rory and a Lorelai.
Ooh.
I was a young girl when the show premiered. I was so excited about it because to me, I'd say the main hook of the show is what if your mom was cool? And young.
I can't believe it's the first show to ever do that.
Now it's like I'm older than Lorelai is in the pilot, so I'm looking at it from a new perspective, and I think that's the journey of a lot of the rewatchers that come to this every single year.
Oh my gosh! Well, thank you so much for bringing it to us. I can't wait to dive in. But before we dive in, if you're here just to listen to Rosie's love of this show, or maybe you just found our podcast for the first time, welcome to our 100th episode, Max. Do you mind telling folks what this podcast is all about?
Of course, but really first, I just can't help but think, Rosie, how your return to TVPL today and the show we've picked just kind of mimics the growth we've had and getting older as a podcast as well. Your first two appearances were real New York City-centric shows, and now as we've gotten older, we're in the suburbs of Connecticut. And ain't that life, baby?
It really is. And I'm hoping for that same exact trajectory and home ownership in the same way, too.
Moving further and further away from the chaos.
Oh,
Exactly.
Here at TV Pilot's License, we break down and analyze the pilot episodes of some of TV's most famous, or in some cases, infamous shows. We learn a little bit more about how these shows came to be and were originally made, if they're effective pilot episodes and making us want to watch more, and if we think they can be made today. Go back and stream our other 99 episodes from wherever you listen to podcasts. Check us out on YouTube and TikTok to see our smiling faces. And if it is your first time flying with us, then welcome aboard. Free drinks on today's flight.
All the coffee you can drink. Well, Max, thank you so much for that description of our podcast. Rich, it is time for your question of the week.
Or my 100th question of the week. It feels crazy to say. I want to know, and this is a little bit based on the tweet that went viral a couple years ago, where if you could take one TV show and replace one character with a Muppet and everything else on the show stays the same, what would you pick? I want to know what is the funniest replacement for both Rory and Lorelai, keeping the entire script and cast the same. Who would you choose as the replacements?
Well, Rich, I want to hear your idea first because you thought of this crazy nonsense. So give us a little guidance.
I went full Looney Tunes. That's talk funny route. So I don't know why I'm going Sylvester the Cat first. I think it'd be very funny to have that in there, and then Yosemite Sam as Lorelai. I think Yosemite Sam has the experience, has the graying now mustache to have that wisdom in his old age.
Well, Rich, I that does sound very much like you. As far as myself, thinking about this, I think I have to go with Muppets, and I have to go with Statler and Waldorf. I don't I don't care who plays who. I don't care who's Rory and who's Lorelai. I just want the two of them, muppeting around town and drinking copious amounts of caffeine. I think that when they visit the grandparents, holy shit, is that going to be the most amazing scene ever?
I like this a lot.
Yeah, I need that in my life so much.
The dad actually reminds me a little bit of of Dr. Bunsen
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, he definitely has some Bunsen energy, Bunsen code to it. Max, what about yourself?
I mean, this is partially just based on a mother-daughter relationship from another beloved story, but also Alexis Bledel is kind of having those big old eyes. We're going with Kanga and Roo from Winnie the Pooh.
Oh my god!
Sure. The classic mother-daughter relationship.
Yeah, when everyone thinks mother and daughter, especially cool mom to daughter, it's definitely that one. Rosie, I mean, what are you thinking? What is your who are you fan casting in these two roles?
Listen, I am actually watching Gilmore Girls simultaneously with watching Twin Peaks, and Agent Dale Cooper, Special Agent Dale Cooper, is a great Lorelai. We have the love of coffee present, the love of the small town. She's like overjoyed with any culinary opportunity that comes. And then Laura Palmer is the child, obviously, is Rory.
Absolutely.
Especially dream sequence Laura Palmer would be.
Oh,
that's so good and crazy.
I love that so much. And it's like disturbing. I don't know what I want to fund more, Muppets Gilmore Girls or Twin Peaks Gilmore Girls. Well,
there's a lot of overlap if you really are examining.
Well, Rich, thank you so much for your question of the week. Let's talk a little bit more Gilmore Girls. But before we do so, a quick synopsis. Fiercely independent single mom Lorelai raises gifted Ivy League-bound daughter Rory amid a continual stream of quick-witted repartee. Wow, what a
boy! I'm not buying in on that show just from that description. I'll be honest right now. You got to do some heavy lifting.
Well, Max, it's time for some heavy lifting. Tell us how this show got made.
Today, we are talking about the pilot of Gilmore Girls, which originally aired on October 5th, 2000 on the WB. And we are talking about the show's creator today, Amy Sherman Palladino. The child of a dancer and a comedian, Amy Sherman Palladino got her break in TV in 1990 when she and her writing partner, Jennifer Heath, were picked to join the writer's room at Roseanne ahead of its third season. At the time, she also had a simultaneous callback to be a dancer in the musical Cats after having lied on her resume that she was trained in gymnastics. Sherman Palladino put her dancing career on hold and focused full-time on writing, a decision that paid off. 2 years later, she'd be Emmy nominated for her work on Roseanne. After leaving the show following season 6, she sold her first sitcom of her own, Love and Marriage, to Fox in 1996, which unfortunately only lasted for 3 episodes. From there, she joins the room at ABC's Over the Top, which starred Tim Curry, Annie Potts, and a young Steve Carell, which was unfortunately canceled after just 3 episodes as well. While working on Marta Kaufman's lesser-known late 90s NBC sitcom Veronica's Closet, 3 seasons, 66 episodes, Sherman Palladino
seems to be the theme.
Listen, 66 compared to a combined 6 is a little bit better, Jeff. While working there, Sherman Palladino pitches ideas to the WB. After turning down several show ideas, she pitches a last-ditch effort of a mother and daughter who are more like friends than mother and daughter. WB buys the pitch at the meeting, but there's one slight problem. There's no show. She came up with this loose idea on the spot and just tossed it out. Inspiration came from a getaway to Litchfield County, Connecticut, and the small town of Washington Depot, where she stayed at a boutique hotel called the Mayflower Inn. The small-town New England camaraderie provide backdrop for today's show. In her own words, Gilmore Girls was to create a family show that doesn't make the adults want to stick something sharp in their eyes while they're watching it and doesn't talk down to the kids. For the iconic pace of dialogue, she drew inspiration from the films of Katharine Hepburn and Spencer Tracy and the writer-poet Dorothy Parker. While developing the pilot, she received funding from the Family Friendly Programming Forum, providing the show with major advertising funds from marketing firms looking to add more family-based shows to their TV lineups. This is a fun one because there are 2 versions of this pilot, with the original unaired version looking quite a bit different. Several casting changes happened with WB from the original version to what we saw air. Let's go over those really quick. The role of Sookie St. James, made famous by Melissa McCarthy, was actually originally played by Alex Borstein, but she was recast due to not being able to get out of her contract at Mad TV to be a series regular. She does make a cameo in today's pilot. The role of Dean was originally played by actor Nathan Wethington, who was let go by the network and replaced by Jared Padalecki. And the town coffee shop, the biggest one of all, was originally owned by a woman named Daisy. There was no Luke in the pilot at all. In filming the second official version of the pilot we know and love today, the only change made was the name. They literally replaced all of Daisy's lines with the character of Luke without touching a word. It's all the original dialogue. While the unaired pilot was filmed in Unionville, Ontario, Canada, production for the official series shifted to the Warner Brothers lot in California, taking the place of Stars Hollow, Connecticut.
Oh my gosh. Well, Max, thank you so much for that history of how this show got made. Rosie, this is a very iconic, like, fall-coded show, for sure. So I feel like we would be missing out on an amazing opportunity if we didn't hear from you about, like, how would you recommend folks prepare for getting in the Stars Hollow, the Gilmore Girls mood, and getting ready for fall?
Yes. Oh, well, you're going to have to envelop all of your senses. I feel like that's a very necessary component. You gotta call, you gotta get your Postmates on lock, first of all, because I feel like a big part of the show is the girls love to eat. They love to eat junk food. If you can, I would order from multiple different fast food chains, because they certainly like to mix and match their dinners. So you're gonna do that. You're gonna light some fall candles. I would also get your coffee brewing, necessary. And then you gotta grab a Rory Gilmore sweater, which I'm wearing right now for those of you listening. I don't know if there's a video component to this podcast today, but you got to get the cable knit sweater on lock, and someone close to you, if not a mom, maybe the mom in your life or the friend that won't shut up.
Perfect. I feel set. Boys, do you feel in the mood?
I can only imagine how, like, the person who specializes in cable knit sweater, like, set decoration and set design and costuming had to have bought a beach house from just the show alone. There's no
it's that, and then the sweater that Chris Evans wears in Knives Out is like how they got their retirement plan.
Right.
They were like, thank God, I'm set now. I was worried a little bit.
That was actually a recycled prop from Gilmore Girls season 3.
It's so funny seeing the first shot of Stars Hollow again, like in like the town square part of it, because I realized I have been on that set before, and it was for when I was an extra on Pretty Little Liars. They shot like a funeral scene that was coming out of a church that was literally I could see it from memory. This is where the entire Stars Hollow was, but they shoot it on a very small part of this lot.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that opening scene, right? Because this show it has 2 title cards and 2 introductions. Rather than just doing a pure cold open for us, we instantaneously meet Lorelai and get to know a few things about her. 1, she's addicted to coffee. 2, Luke's has the best coffee in town. And then 3, she's being hit on by just some random passerbyers through town. And we get to learn that she also has a what we can only call a quick wit. I want to hear from y'all. What were your first impressions of Lorelai for those who might not be as familiar with this show?
She's so fun. I think it's before this show. I don't think that, especially directed towards my demographic at the time, because I feel like I definitely was like a WB young adult at this time. I'm sure we all were. Oh, yeah. It was just fun to see an alternative option. I feel like a lot of the shows that were pushed towards young people were very steamy, very 90210 vibes, and already like having this person that the wit of Lorelai and the wit of Rory, I think, was so exciting to witness as a young girl.
Totally. I think this definitely breaks the mold in the sense that all the other like WB, CW shows, the relationship with the parent is very like, I'm going to go explore my own adolescence in spite of you, and not, it's kind of us against the world kind of feeling. And that's what I got from this immediate breakdown. Also, like, how good was that first song drop of There She Goes?
Yeah, the first
like,
needle drop. Oh my
God. I
God.
was like, oh boy, I'm getting wrapped up in the sweater already.
Max, what about you?
Rich, There She Goes by the Laws is a song so good that it doesn't even need verses. The entire song is chorus and a bridge. I mean, that's the effect. They use it in The Parent Trap in 1987 as well. Like, the grip that song had on family-friendly movies and TV in this period of time just cannot be overstated. But what I love with Lorelai in this first scene is how much we learn about her as a character, get to know her personality without saying things about her. It's these little jokes about coffee addiction and how much she's had that day, and that little, repartee with Luke. It's when we first meet Rory and she's just pulling all these things out of her bag. It's not just, I believe lip gloss. It's like so many different options for her. And you get such a clear picture of who this person is and what their personality's like without anyone having to tell you, that's Lorelai Gilmore. And I feel like it's so effective in just drawing you into this town. It gets the small town charm down to a T off the bat.
You get the two big lines that like show their personalities and like where they are in the world at that exact moment. Number one, I lost my Macy Gray CD. Already perfect. I'm right there. Number two, the "Are you my new daddy" line, like floored me. I was not expecting that at all. It was so funny. And my God, that just like set the tone immediately.
I mean, Rich, I want to dive into that specific bit of dialogue a little bit more, because I think within the first 4 minutes of your pilot to then sort of set the idea of, here are some big pieces of news. We have Lorelai. Lorelai, while a younger woman, has a daughter who's 16 years old, who, can't be that much of an age gap. We learn a little bit more about the age gap later in the episode. And then for them to double down on, let's make everyone feel like it is us against them in using this Joey character who we will never see again.
Nope.
I am 100% sure. But using him as a prop of, this is their relationship. Oh, that would be so fucking funny. I'm kidding. Low-key, that would be the funniest thing of like, remember me?
No.
But no one does, Joey. But using that to set this relationship was such a refreshing thing, as opposed to, Max, what you were talking about, just exposition dump for us.
I got to call a timeout on Joey really quick, though. He says that him and his buddy are stopping in town while passing through on their way to Hartford. No one's ever just been passing through on their way to Hartford. No one's destination has ever intentionally been Hartford, Connecticut, unless you're going to a central location UConn basketball game when they play at the XL Center against larger opponents, or a Hartford Wolfpack minor league hockey game. The Whalers had already moved to Carolina at this point. There's no reason that Joey and his buddy would just be nonchalantly traveling to Hartford on this afternoon.
Also, you wouldn't stop 30 minutes before your destination for a meal.
Dude.
No, you would get off the highway and go to Dunkin' like anyone else in Connecticut.
Oh my God.
I love location-based fact-checking. That's like one of my favorite things. I have a little bit of a Los Angeles background. I'd be like, that's not there. That's not over there at all. That's not, I would watch this entire show with you just for those specific factoids.
I'm the pop-up video in the corner on VH1.
Yes.
We'll talk a little bit more about, like, we got so many in-flight questions for this, but someone sent me a message being like, my biggest pet peeve with the show is there are scenes where you can see mountains from California in the background of Connecticut. Please tell me what mountain that is in Connecticut that exists, because there's no such thing.
That's Butternut. That's where we go skiing in high school.
An answer for everything.
Oh my God. Even more Connecticut than that's where we go skiing in high school.
So we talked about an iconic needle drop of using There She Goes, but I want to talk about the love of my life in Carole King, because fun fact, Carole King is like one of the things that I love the most, and having that song be the theme song for this show, and seeing that montage was just like, it was warm and cozy. Like, I'm not wearing a cable knit sweater right now, but I'm imagining Carole King's voice just like enveloping me, and I'm like, ooh, I am safe, I am protected, and please give me more of this.
Jeff, would you go as far as to say you felt the earth move under your feet?
I was just about to make that joke. Well, Jeff, you should keep watching the show because she's in 3 episodes of it.
Yeah, she is. She's throughout this show.
Yeah.
As surprise to no one who listens to this podcast, I have watched every single episode.
Have you really?
Of Gilmore Girls? Yes, I have.
Okay, you're gonna absolutely cruise on the game that I made this week.
Oh, can't wait. But I mean, for the rest of you, maybe you don't have that love for Carole King that I do. What were your thoughts seeing that intro, that montage as a whole?
What this show is excellent at is establishing tone.
Leaves.
Who needs to go across the New England coast to go leave watching?
I'm about
you
to
just have
this
intro
right now.
Oh my god. Rosie, what were you saying? What were you saying about the intro?
Honestly, I feel like you said what my heart wanted to say. I mean, like before I went down to that, I'm over here like being like, okay, all right, film class, like let's get out with the tone establishment. But then this show executes so well, like this like immersive feeling that you are there, which is why I think so many people use it to beckon in fall. Like there's so many rewatchers that are like, okay, I'm immersed because of this show.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the sepia toned footage. The leaves are there. You are right, sir. They like open on that broad foliage scape at the top. And then you're enmeshed with it. Like the gals are on the sofa. They're dancing in the kitchen. It's just so homey. It feels like you're watching home videos of people. It doesn't really have that cringy effect of the 90s of people just like smiling and posing for the camera.
Truly.
But it feels very candid and charming. Like, you're in for a great ride with good people.
Yeah, and Max, if you interrupt like that, I'm shaking my fist. Why I autumn?
Oh no!
I mean, one of the things that this pilot does, which is surprising, is there's a lot of different sets that were going around throughout the pilot, like which is super interesting, right? We automatically are introduced to Luke's. We are automatically introduced to like this very large courtyard, town square sort of set that Rich has been in attendance to. But then we're introduced to a workplace of the Stars Hollow Inn and even more cast members. This is not a small, tight-knit cast. This is a lot of people that you have to sort of remember, or you are going to remember right away. And Rich, it seems like this might not be your biggest show. So I'm curious what your thoughts are on the sassiest man in all of Connecticut by the name of Michelle.
Oh, buddy, in all caps, I wrote, there is something so special about the banter between Michelle and Lorelai. I loved it. He's such a sassy bitch from beginning to end. I love him. I love him. I'm like 100. Put him in every single episode. I don't want him to leave.
And I mean, it's not just Michelle. We get to know a workplace, which is super interesting because yes, we see the small cameo from Alex Borstein as Drella, the harpist, which is just like, it's such a perfect role for her. But then we get to a character that I have a love-hate relationship with in Sookie, and played by Melissa McCarthy, it's one of those roles where it's such an interesting, refreshing tone, but it also seems so out of place in this pilot. And I'm curious if you guys got that feeling as well.
Everything in the hotel feels downright zany. And I mentioned in the notes up top how much she drew from these classic 40s comedies, the Spencer Tracy, Katharine Hepburn dynamic. But there is this like throwback to the past in so much of these hotel scenes, from Michelle's phone conversation, this one-sided phone call that feels like it's pretty much like an old MGM cartoon joke of like, you don't say, he didn't say, to these big physical prop comedy moments from Alex Borstein wheeling a harp through a busy hotel lobby, to Melissa McCarthy as Sookie St. James being an absolute hurricane in the kitchen and throwing pots and pans. It's such a contrast to the beginning of the show. And I feel like Gilmore Girls succeeds in feeling like a TV show and a TV comedy while also having these comforting slice of life elements. And it's really like a razor's edge that it has to walk to do this dance. And I think it's great to have these two scenes start the show where we're going to see the mother-daughter quaint small-town dynamic, and we're going to also have these kind of kooky cast of characters in this town, and just it's a 1-2 punch that establishes Stars Hollow so effectively.
Yeah,
it's interesting that they're pulling specifically from sketch comedy background actors, like like Alex Borstein and Melissa McCarthy was a groundling at this point, and I feel like that's a really interesting choice. I wonder how much, I'm not familiar with every single person's like acting background, but I mean, I know we were saying she's zany, but I feel like Melissa McCarthy is kind of at a 6 in this first pilot episode. It is jarring to see her at this stage in her career playing so sweet and feminine. And I think that later on she goes a whole different route with her just acting in general.
Oh yeah. Like this Melissa McCarthy versus Bridesmaids. Melissa McCarthy is like, it's an entirely different species of human being.
I don't
like,
know.
We're talking.
I could see the evolution of just like how she plays this character to like watching a movie like Spy or something like that, where I'm like, oh yeah, this is like, they brought her in specifically to be the bull in the china shop. It is like, but also like such a sweet person as well. Also, this is our second Sookie that we've covered on the podcast. So put a big number 2 on the Sookie counter. Because I'm a real Sookie monster this week. I have never met a single person with that name. I've never even known a person who knows a person with that name. I have no idea like what that is, like what area of the country Sookies come from, but I absolutely fell for Melissa McCarthy immediately with these cooking scenes. It felt very Marx Brothers, very Jerry Lewis, like you were saying, Max. It is so friggin' funny how they did these.
The choreography of these cooking scenes is also so impressive because these were not one take.
No.
If this was a one take thing, holy shit. But it's having 3 to 4 actors all in tune with each other for perfect timing and still ending up with someone injured is never not hilarious. It's great.
Yeah, I'm calling OSHA because they put out a literal fire on that set. I don't think you're allowed to do that.
For those at home, I do have the meaning of Sookie, and it's a nickname for Susan or Susanna.
Are you serious?
There you go.
Fascinating. Okay, they don't even cover that in either show.
One of the feelings that this show does give that I want to talk about a little bit more in depth is it does seem very late 90s, 2000s, early 2000s coded. Like, this is not a time capsule, if that makes sense, where it's just like, oh yeah, it's timeless in what it does and how everything works. There are these small little pieces, whether it is the music that they choose, or when we're in the town square seeing a dude ride down in a Razor scooter and like unironically, which I was just like, hell yeah, that looks great.
2000s,
or so much flannel everywhere. Like we're just coming out of the grunge era of flannel wearing into like, oh no, flannel can be cute if you get it from Abercrombie and Fitch. And like, that was a fun little reminiscence for sure. And like maybe fall coded is actually 90s coded. And that's why we like it all so much. I'm welcome to my TED Talk. But I mean, during this town square scene, we meet a baby Jared Padalecki, which we might be familiar from the TV Pilot's License crew, based off of some previous episodes of work. But I'm curious, Max, you seem to have a lot of thoughts about Jared.
Normally when we meet these teenage love interest characters on these WB, CW, ABC family shows we do, we're kind of like, oh, this guy's a real bozo. You know, I don't get the appeal here. Jared Padalecki is a dreamboat in Gilmore Girls pilot. And every single Rory B-plot storyline, everything that goes through her mind, the arc she takes this episode, I get it, girl. Like, I absolutely get it, girl.
Yeah, once Rich heard that he was from Chicago, he was like, I get it. I get it. Completely.
Wendy, Oprah?
He's kind of giving, like, young Christian Slater energy in this. Like, his, like, squinty eyes, very Heather's energy. And I feel like, I don't want to, like, obviously speak too much outside of him past the pilot, but I feel like this is the most, like, intelligent big city we get of Dean in this entire like iteration of his character. Like,
did
he's
they dumb
very
him down?
I feel like he gets I don't
No,
I
we
will
can
just
talk
say,
about it.
I will just say, you know, when we learn about Dean and like Dean and Rory's meet cute is something. Let's just talk about it a little bit because it's a little bit off in the idea that as dreamy as Dean may be, as dreamy as Jared Padalecki may be, Dean has a stalking problem that we need to talk about in a little bit more depth because the way to approach someone is not to walk up to them while they are tying their shoes or dropped a book and say nothing like you're a goddamn tree.
That's how we flirt in Chicago.
And then going up to someone and also saying, well, I need a job. Can you help me? I've known you for 2 minutes is also a really odd choice as far as shooting game. I don't care if you're 16 years old or if you're 40 years old.
Okay, yes, he's definitely imposing a lot on Rory for having just met her that day. My question specifically for Rich in this regarding Dean, that's
Dean.
That's his
okay.
name.
Dean
so
Forrester.
He just moved from Chicago. He's 16. He obviously was really influenced by the second Bulls three-peat of the 90s. Which non-Jordan or Pippen jersey does Dean have in his closet? Is it a Longley? Is it a Kukoc? Is it a Kerr? Who is he rocking?
He's a big Luke Longley guy. He's here for some Aussie basketball. That's it.
Oh my god.
But also, I didn't even think about that until you mentioned it. That Dean Forrester immediately imposes two things. Number one, I've been watching you. Nope. Number two, I need money immediately.
Could you imagine if that was someone's Tinder profile where it's just like, love to watch you, also broke, like, please swipe right.
I'll give you some advice right now if anyone listening. If someone from Chicago has been watching you and also immediately needs money, you need to go the other direction right away. Do not stick around and fall for him.
I'm curious because as you have gone from your Rory era to your Lorelai era, what were your thoughts and what are your thoughts now re-meeting Dean in a more seasoned age of life?
This is a canon event for all young and gifted women. Like, I think that, like, he's dangerous. He's noticing me. I know that the stalking thing, like, we can obviously like reflect back with like 2020 vision on this, but I can't tell you the amount of times that I, you know, very conspicuously carried a book, a film, something like that to pique the interest of the local intelligent bad boy. I think that this is sexy. I think that it is speaking to a specific niche audience of young woman who hangs out at a video store, at a half-price bookstore. You know, like, this is
oh my god,
this is it. This is the ship that launched 1,000 fanfics, in my opinion.
He is a terrible car. He reads the classics. You don't need to know a third thing about him.
Oh yeah, like, let's get into like Kerouac on a floor mattress. I've been her. You know, like, this is good.
Oh my gosh. Well, let's talk a little bit more about how Dean sort of sets off our A-plot in a little bit more of a interesting way. And that is, we find out that while Rory is extremely gifted, there is a private school that's about 30 minutes away from Stars Hollow called Chilton that she was accepted into. But now that she has curried the favor of the local mysterious new hottie, city boy, she doesn't really want to go. And that's not even to mention that Lorelai just doesn't have the money to pay for this tuition. Our A plot is giving us a B plot, a C plot, a D plot as well. As far as for a pilot, what did you guys think of this being our main problem? Why is this day any different than any other day?
It felt weak to me. That, like, I mean, what this is establishing is Lorelai is going to do anything she can for Rory to help her follow her dreams. But, like, I don't know. That doesn't seem like enough to build a whole show on. Like, I even wrote down in my notes is like, this doesn't seem plot heavy enough. It's so reliant on the individual character relationships that like that's what you're watching for. That's what you're hooked on. But like the actual plot of like, you know, I feel like sending someone to like an extremely expensive prep school is not crucial enough of a thing that like Rory already seems super smart. She can excel anywhere. I don't know.
I see that. I think it's deeper than that. It's almost Shakespearean for me. It's avoiding the folly of the parents. It's avoiding like Lorelai's entire thing is being self-reliant, is getting out of the mistake quote that she made for herself. So she's got two kind of like being Lorelai's centered here, and then she's got the generation above her, the generation below her. And to me, it's like she cares so much about like her daughter not following in her footsteps that the first alarm bell we're getting is that the motorcycle boy's in town, and we need a taste of that. But then also we have to re-involve ourselves in the parents' world because they're so interconnected with this expensive. There's a really great class dynamic occurring, and then also that like classic like it's a fate that is already sealed for us in some way.
Max, I'm curious about you. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think I'm somewhere in the middle there where it's throwing a wrench into an established dynamic that from this point forward is never going to be exactly the same. Because, you know, what that first scene of the show does, it establishes this kind of off the cuff, you know, two women doing it for themselves attitude that Rory and Lorelai have, a certain way they've led their life for 16 years and what that bond is. And in Rory having a chance to go to the next level academically, to set herself up for a new path of success, it's going to change that. They are going to be forever split because, you know, Lorelai's worked hard. They say she moved her way up from being a housekeeper to the manager at this lovely inn in suburban Connecticut. But it's not the life for Rory. Rory's not going to stay in town. She's not going to carry on this legacy. And no matter what happens, her getting into Chilton is going to divert her a little bit away from Lorelai. We need to see that growth. We need to see her moving in the new direction. And the way we get there with Lorelai's parents, who we'll talk about, you know, that is kind of the catalyst here. It's what forces that detour. It's what forces that new path for Rory to go on.
I really love that one line. If you're going to throw away your life, you better have a motorcycle. I'm like, damn, that is a woman who has lived and learned.
Yes. So Max, I'm glad you brought up the parents because I think that that's the critical third act of this pilot, meeting Mr. and Mrs. Gilmore. And I just have to set the tone for those who have not yet watched the pilot while they're listening to this podcast. Imagine you are seeing your parents and your butthole tightens 4 extra sizes because that is the vibe that Emily Gilmore gives to the screen. We have the original Wasp, that like the first one that ever came to Connecticut, and that is Emily Gilmore. And I love how this role is portrayed. It is very emotionless, yet cutting. It is very to the point. And then while all this is happening, you have Richard, who seems like the most lovable doof who is always carrying a newspaper, but also is a bit of a killer and a bit of a like really ruthless at the same time.
So negligent.
And it's one of those things where I want to hear from everyone else. What were you feeling the first time we visited the Gilmore's estate?
Bruh, old money's different. Old money is just different.
Jesus Christ.
There is just a physicality when you walk into that house, the stature, the presence that is so intimidating. And, you know, it's tough. They establish the relationship is they're only there on holidays, that this is a relationship that is strictly, to this point, rooted in obligation. And I think anytime you're approaching that where there's always a transactional element or an owed favor, you know, you're going to have a battle set up for yourself.
I feel like
Listen.
This is more of a question for the East Coast baddies on this podcast, but I don't know anyone in my life that's a Wasp. like especially in this way. But I was feeling, it's so funny. I actually felt compassion for Donald Trump Jr. from the scene because I'm like, what the fuck is
clip it? It's going on TikTok.
What the fuck is it? Like, there's only two routes that you can go to rebel from this family, like from having an extremely wealthy father who doesn't give a fuck about you. Is that like you can either like self-medicate and try to live how they do, which is the Donald Trump Jr. route, or you can rebel and be exactly the opposite from them, which is the Lorelai Gilmore route. And like, it just feels really sad that anyone would have like that these two people would ever feel compelled to have children at any point in their life.
I did not want to monologue for too long, but I have a deep personal connection to the show. My grandparents were extremely wealthy and from Boston. And my dad was kind of their party son who they said, you don't get anything. So I was sent to private school by my grandparents, but I would shop at Old Navy once a year with my mom. And that is kind of like this dynamic I heavily relate to because we would have only holidays with my very waspy grandparents who my grandmother grew up in a house with a name. You know what I mean? Like if your house is named estate. Yes. Yeah, if you have a house with a name, I feel like that's like the code that I'm listening for or whatever. I'm like, okay, I know what's going on with you. Her backstory is crazy. She had several brothers who all died of like heroin addiction or something like that. And they were old as shit, these people. They were in their hundreds when they passed away 15 years ago. So they were very elderly people. And it's an interesting dynamic being in this like world of two very different like price points. Like I remember I would get anything I wanted for Christmas, but nothing throughout the year. And being at these events where I can tell you the manners are insane. They're just, they are speaking in code that you cannot perceive. It is the most uncomfortable like place to enter. And I feel the room that they are in at the beginning of this first entrance into the grandparents, because you are going to be, as an underage kid, handed champagne, which I think we see later on in this episode.
Yeah, we do. I have that in my wait a minute.
But you're also held to the highest set of manners that you don't know anything about. Like, you don't know anything that you're doing wrong, but you are going to be reprimanded at every turn. And then you can't speak freely about anything. People are likely going to be talking about money or human beings that you've never met from their social circle. And it's so uncomfortable. Sorry, that was a lot.
No, Rosie.
I'm like, I did not even know that you had this connection in this way, because like I felt so sad for Lorelai in this moment, and like I can't imagine what your dad was feeling.
Rich and Max, I actually want to sort of envelop you in this dilemma that Lorelai has, and the reason she goes to try to mend this relationship, at least for the time being, with her parents, is to be able to give her daughter a different life at Chilton. So I did the math of how much a semester plus a entrance fee to Chilton would cost. So here is our dilemma for Lorelai. Her parents offer to give her the money for the entrance fee as well as the first semester, and probably, let's just pretend it's for every semester afterwards, to Chilton. I estimated that at about $55,000 per semester that she is going to have to cost. Now, this is what it costs you, though. You have to have a weekly phone call with the Gilmore parents, and you have to go to 7 p.m. dinner every Friday. So forget about going to high school football games, because that is not a part of your schedule anymore. So I'm curious if either of you two think that the stakes are too high to be willing to accept that, and also to, to sort of take a hit on your own morals and values.
Oh boy. I mean, I'm a public school kid, and like, not to brag, but my school is number one in the state for like high school quality. But I don't know, it would be really hard for me to eat crow like that. Like the money is like one thing. Like, yeah, it's a substantial amount of money. Like I could send my daughter to, I guess, what's probably the best school in Connecticut, the way they're talking about it. But I just don't have it in me. And maybe it would be different if I was raised by those two people, because I wouldn't understand what parental love is. But like the way I live now, like there's no way on earth that I would eat crow for that.
Max, what about yourself?
I mean, it's a really tough question to answer as someone who also spent his entire life in public schools in Connecticut. I think for
and he turned out
Lorelai,
great. Look, he has a podcast.
Yeah, he's doing fantastic.
I mean, Rich, you and I lived in a house with a name in college, but it was not a high status thing.
No, it sure wasn't. It had a Spanish name though. It was a mission.
I think for Lorelai, it's just are you like what are you willing to do to set this person up? And I think if I were in that situation where I spent 16 years as a single parent working long hours in the hospitality industry just to make sure that I was putting food on the table, clothes at her back, and providing her with the best possible life, and an opportunity presented itself where I could set her up for whatever she wanted to do. If my priority is my child, then I have to take that, even if it makes me feel like defeated or I've made a concession. I feel like I have to do whatever it takes that I could still, do my life within my means and set her up. And that's not an easy thing to say. We're not in a situation, I think any of us, right, we have to make that call personally. But yeah, I mean, it has to be about Rory at the end of the day.
And it's a hard no. And I'm going to tell you why, because I've already got this figured out. This conversation is 10 years too late. This would be much more impactful for Rory's early education. Mm-hmm. Rory is already an incredible student, incredible mind, and she's actually doing herself, I feel, a disservice by putting herself in a more competitive environment where but Rory Gilmore is going to be valedictorian, or I don't know if she's salutatorian. I think if this is real world rules and you're already like made it this far and she's already this gifted and exceptional, don't fucking fuck with the grandparents at this point. Like it's not good. That base level education, I think, is the most important. The only thing that's going to happen when she gets to this high school is she's going to be thrown into the wolves. Like these kids have a completely different set of social norms and cliques and just ways that they're moving through the world. I think that she has a great shot of getting into whatever Ivy League school she wants to go to from being the valedictorian of her public school and kicking ass there. She's going to rank higher in terms of like, just as an example, I was in the bottom quarter of my school and I was making B's. So like and I would have been in gifted programs in other schools. And I just feel like, I don't know, I have way too much personal.
And also, Rory, let me just tell you right now, if I could speak to you, Rory Gilmore, UConn is the #1 public university in New England. You can still get a very good education in state at a public school, probably on full ride. If we don't need to set you up just for Ivy League. Hell, you could go to Wesleyan. You go to Wesleyan and stay and get a very, very good liberal arts education. You'll probably, based on the timeline, you'll probably hang out with the dudes from MGMT and do shrooms in your college years while studying poetry. I mean, there's plenty of paths for you, Rory Gilmore.
That's right.
That's beautiful.
You could also go to University of Hartford, which is also a fantastic university as well. Let's talk a little bit about the way that they one up that question that I gave you, in that we get to see our first dinner. We already know that Rory might not want to go to Chilton. And then we get to see Lorelai get abused by her parents in one of just the most heartbreaking scenes of the idea of not only are they going to throw her under the bus, but they're also going to talk so lovingly about the man that abandoned their granddaughter.
Oh, dude.
This is why, and Rich, this is why I sort of held my tongue when you were like, I don't get the stakes of this pilot. Because the stakes are, we get to be so emotionally involved with these characters that you feel your heart break for Lorelai when you find out that this is why she is trying to do everything in her power to make sure her daughter doesn't have to live under these circumstances.
I think
want
that
to
actually
influenced
that influenced my answer of like how if I would eat crow to like get the tuition money, because like when I heard him talk about her ex partner, not husband, right? Did they get married?
It was her ex partner, not husband.
Ex
They didn't
partner who
refuse to get
clearly
married.
didn't stick around to be a dad, and instead went off to California to start a company. Like if I ever found out that someone from my family was talking to like an ex that basically abandoned me with a child, I would cut them out completely from my life. There's no goddamn way. There's no way. I wouldn't even show up for Christmas.
I mean, Rosie and Max, I'm curious, what were your thoughts of seeing this? Because this scene almost was our final scene. We had one more that I think was very important to see. Yeah. But what were your thoughts? What were your feelings seeing this dinner to establish we're going to do these every week? Every episode that you see, we're going to get some form of this dinner that is going to make your butthole clench even more sizes than it already was clenched.
There's a fun dynamic here because this is the first, like, I guess, significant time that they're spending with each other, catching up. And everybody has, I think, the grandparents are real rough on this pilot. It's dark.
Yeah.
I think it's darker than the foibles that await us later on. And that is an emotional scene, especially because they're completely ignoring like how much Lorelai has beaten the odds to manifest what she has in the present day. Like, I don't know if she's renting or owning that beautiful home, but it is a beautiful home. It's a safe place that she's created for her daughter. Her daughter is extraordinarily exceptional and gifted and like hasn't done anything that we know of yet that's disrupted a good youth. And they I think they say that, are you still working at a motel? Like they even, but then also it's sort of like Lorelai hasn't wanted them in her life. She hasn't even, I think, been prideful and shown off what she's done. So we know that we're going to be learning more about each other as this goes on, because nobody has a clear portrait of what the other people are up to.
Yeah, it's so evident that both parties have such a different idea of what strength, what power, what success looks like. And so that scene between Lauren Graham and Kelly Bishop, who plays her mom in the kitchen, is so effective because it is just this 16-year in the making dynamic coming to a head. And I think this is the most important scene in this pilot, is mother and daughter in the kitchen, because it is this other side to Lorelai. It is rounding out the character. And Lauren Graham, man, oh man, she absolutely crushes this.
Yep.
And while we see these, fun, vibey scenes and that dynamic and, repartee and the joking for the first 40 some odd minutes, to get this just like, driving the screwdriver in with her mom. It's so powerful. And see his other side, she just absolutely knocks it out of the park.
You see the trauma that she's fighting against. You understand like a broader depth of that character behind what she's saying.
It's also super interesting to have such this loving mother-daughter relationship on one side that we are centering our pilot around. And then on the other side, we show what Lorelai is fighting against, the relationship she doesn't want to have with Rory, which is just so important. And I think it is important that we don't end on this scene. We end in a safe space. We end back at Luke's. And I find it so interesting, Max, that you told us in like the background of the show that Luke was not originally a Luke. It was a Daisy. And like there were no intentions probably behind that character of maybe what we got in that final scene or the hints that we got. But instead we get the hints of, no matter what happens, no matter how many assholes enter their lives, there's always going to be, at the end of the episode, Lorelai and Rory together, sharing a pot of coffee and maybe some cheese fries along the way.
And I realized now that you say that, Geoff, like Luke is so important. It's so important that Luke is a man, because I think every man in this episode has done something to harm Lorelai or Rory at some point, except for Luke. He's the only one that has cared about them. Like it is all just like it's assholes and like narcissists all the way down, except for Luke. He's like the only one that seems to show them any care.
And he's a constant. He's there every morning. You know,
he's in every
very
episode.
Reliable.
He's one of like 4 people that are in every episode of the entire series.
So that really is our pilot. I want to talk about things that we loved about this pilot that maybe we didn't discuss in depth, and you want to give a little bit more shine. Rosie, are there any moments in this pilot that you want to give a little bit more shine to?
It's what I like about this one is that we haven't really developed the cadence of the Gilmore Girls dialogue yet. And it is a little bit slower. And I do think there's portions of this where we're like shooting on location too. Like Luke's Diner is not what Luke's Diner.
No, it is not.
Oh, really?
And there's some portions where it looks like they have like second unit. Like there's some really interesting direction choices in this pilot that just feel a little bit more filmic than I think the rest of the show ends up being. But it's just, I love pilots for that reason, because it's so different and but at the same time, like the emotional crux of this show, the pop culture references, everything that we love is the seeds are here and established really well. So it's great. It's just in reviewing it back with you guys and talking about like the relationship dynamics and having that be the weight of the show, it is powerful. Like I found myself getting emotional just like hearing everyone here talk about the weight of all these relationships and the relationships of what relationship do you have that's so impactful to you than that of the person who gave birth to you? Like it's big.
Rich, what about you? What were some things that you loved about this pilot?
It's hard to stray even one iota from Brosie's answer, because I just got like addicted to Lorelai and Rory's relationship. That is like their communication back and forth as fast as it was, and I had to pause several times so I could like keep up with what they were saying to each other. It is, I mean, Lorelai drops the line to Sookie, she can go to Harvard and get the education that I never got and do the things that I never got to do, and then I can resent her for it, and we can finally have a real mother-daughter relationship. That is like so indicative of the entire show and the sense of humor that Amy Sherman Palladino brings to this, like basically to everything she has made. And it is so charming and so funny, and like it really is them against the world in this show. And the world is, you know, Lorelai's parents. It all started with that, and the entire show is like them trying to prove her parents wrong.
Max, other than the state of Connecticut, what were some things that you loved about this pilot?
I've got 2 rapid fire ones and then a real one. First off, Ms. Patty, an icon, smoking while teaching ballet, even though we have...
Oh my God.
Oh, she made a really inappropriate comment about Dean.
we have a fraction of a scene with her, but it's just such a good glimpse into who this character is, just on how we're introduced to her, and I want more of her from this pilot. Second one, I like that both Rory and Lorelai have their own copies of the Macy Gray CD. That's such a 2000 thing to have multiple copies of physical media. And then finally, I just want to elaborate more on this final Luke's scene that we end on. It's such a lovely bookend to begin this show with Rory and Lorelai and Luke's, and to end it with Rory and Lorelai at Luke's. This show introduces us to our Gilmore Girls. It leaves us with our Gilmore Girls. It is titled Gilmore Girls. The final Rory and Luke exchange of "put that coffee down before you grow up to be like your mom," and Rory answering "too late." I hugged my chest. That is everything to this pilot. Like, that is the heart and soul of it. And God, it made me wish that I still had my 16-year-old stomach and metabolism to be able to have nighttime coffee and chili cheese fries.
Yeah, and for myself, there's 2 things that I have written down. I think that the music of this pilot is just extraordinary. They did such a good job of picking perfect songs for this. And like, we've talked about it a little bit, but I highly recommend if you are watching or decide to watch this pilot, just focus in on the music a little bit and you're going to be just blown away by it. But then there are moments that the writing of the show are so surprising and spectacular. Like there's one line that we go to Luke's, and this is before the dinner, and Lorelai says, "I had dibs on being the bitch tonight." And I just have that written down because I'm just like, what a great line. What, like, it's so sassy and it's very just succinct and perfect. It gives the entire tone of that conversation. And it's our first real instance of like Gilmore Girls cadence, where they're just talking to each other at the diner table. And you're like, oh, this, but like even faster is what you should be expecting. But yeah, this is really, you guys all spoke about really great things that you loved. Let's go to wait a minute moments. I only have one. It's going to be really quick. When Sookie gave Lorelai the sauce to taste, she used the same spoon and put that back in the pot, which she is definitely serving to other people. That's fucking gross. Sookie, that is disgusting.
The heat burns off the germs. The heat burns off the germs.
That is bullshit. We live in a world where that cannot be true. Max, if you believe in that, you also believe you can inject bleach into yourself, and I call bullshit. I'm curious about y'all. What were some wait a minute moments that caused you pause?
There's a lot of stranger danger in these early episodes of Gilmore Girls where they're really like trying to hit home like, hey, these aren't sisters. This is a mom and daughter. And like as soon as he like this man who's hitting on them at the top of the episode like learns like, oh, mother and daughter, well, I do have a friend. I'm like, fuck off, man. You can't do simple math. Something's not cooking up there. Like
oh my gosh. Max, what about you?
Really quick. Rory Gilmore on the steps of the grandparents' estate telling her mom on the way home you can pull a Menendez. It's a topical
Holy
news.
Shit!
Oh, I didn't even catch that.
It's a topical joke, but she's implying that Lorelai can murder her parents. It's a real dark joke in this pilot.
Oh my dear God, that's amazing. I did not even catch that, but that is what a fucking line. Rich, what about you? What did you have any wait a minute moments watching this pilot?
I have two quick wait a minute moments. Number one, don't open an inn with Sookie. She's clearly a liability and it's going to cost a lot of money to you. Don't do that. That's what a crazy lofty goal. Number two, you're going to make the one Polish actor on the screen from Chicago. Real fucking original. I am, as a Polak myself, I am so sick of the reductive way that we all view Polish people. First of all, and to follow that up, do you guys know why there's no Polish hockey team? They all drowned during spring training. All right.
Jesus Christ. Well, thank you so much for that. That strike probably on our podcast. We're shadow banned now. Well, we do have one more. We have one more question. That's an in-flight question. And first, I want to thank all of our frequent flyers for the many, many, many in-flight questions that we got today.
Wow.
I want to say thank you specifically to a few people. We even got an email to tvpilotslicense@gmail.com with 1,200 words espousing the love of Gilmore Girls.
Wow.
And I would really
read it all.
So I want to thank you all for that. And one of the consistent themes that we got was something that's asking a lot of Max and Rich, as they've not watched the entirety of this show. So I took a liberty with our in-flight question today, and I decided to ask an in-flight question of, let's do Tinder of Stars Hollow.
What? How did you do this?
Our first Tinder swipe is Dean Forrester, Star Hollow stand-up guy looking for Rory or someone like her. A little bit about Dean. He's a bookworm with a passion for working with his hands. Fixing cars is his therapy. Loyal and protective, Star Hollow's local raised right. Bonus points if you know where Deuce's Market is. Loves classic rock and good debate about the best bands. Looking for someone who appreciates a good cup of coffee. Luke's obviously, and witty banter. He's not looking for drama queens, anyone who doesn't appreciate a good book or a classic movie marathon, or city slickers. Star Hollow's charm is a must. Now, bonus points if you can quote Gilmore Girls with him, if you're a spontaneous adventurer, and if you can handle a guy who wears his heart on his sleeve. So swipe right if you're ready for a down-to-earth guy with a heart of gold and a love for flannel.
Now,
so that's
our
first choice.
This is me, so I am going to be very upset at both of your answers if you swipe left.
Then we have Jess Mariano, a brooding bookworm with a secret soft spot and looking for someone who gets it. He's an independent spirit with a head full of words and maybe a few bad decisions in my past. More interested in Kerouac than karaoke, but not afraid to have a good time. Secretly a sucker for classic movies and witty banter, and learning to play the guitar. He's not looking for a cheerleader or high-maintenance personalities in drama, and anyone who can't handle a little mystery. Now, bonus points if you can quote obscure literary references, if you're down for a late-night diner run or a walk in the rain, and if you see the world a little differently and aren't afraid to challenge the status quo.
Wait.
And yes, Rich.
Are those two characters the exact same?
No, these are two very different characters.
Are they? That's almost like verbatim the same profile.
I really, can I use this quick moment to proselytize? I have a theory about the relationship dynamics of this show and why they are the way they are.
Oh, please.
Go
no,
for it,
I would
Rosie.
love to hear this.
This is the boyfriends thing. Okay. So I believe that the trajectory for Rory's relationships with men was always supposed to highlight her being caught between the two worlds of her grandparents and her mother. And I believe that they wanted to establish this very early on because we have Mr. One Tree Hill playing Tristan at her private school. And then we also have Dean, who is kind of the representative of the hometown, the movie and book references, etc. We lose Chad Michael Murray to One Tree Hill. He goes away. And then we have to now change the character of Dean to be like hometown, sweet,
but
cute,
dangerous.
And then bring in another like foil to him who ends up being Jess. And even though they're incredibly similar, but then we get Logan who ends up rounding out the man from the grandparents' world.
Well,
so that's, yeah.
Well, Rosie, thank you for introducing our third eligible bachelor, Logan Huntsberger. Life's a game, but you're the prize. Maybe. About him, he's an heir to a media empire, but with a rebellious streak. Think getting kicked out of 4 different private schools. He's an intellectual thrill seeker and always up for an adventure, from spontaneous trips to exotic locations to late night karaoke. A complete contrast to our man Jess. He's a cultured connoisseur. Now, he's not looking for wallflowers. He's not looking for drama queens, which seems to be a consistent theme. And he's not looking for anyone who can't handle a little friendly competitions, because life's a game, right? Bonus points if you can keep up with my pop culture references, if you're independent and strong-willed because he loves a challenge, and if you can appreciate a guy who knows how to have a good time and maybe even bail me out of trouble occasionally. So, gentlemen and Rosie, who are you going to pick? Are you going to pick Logan, Jess, or Dean?
God, Jeff, I'm feeling so much pressure. If I pick wrong, my wife's going to yell at me.
Does she even listen? Just let it go.
My hair looks the most like Jess, so I feel like that's a good starting point. But Dean has got this like Y2K hair. I don't want to swipe left or right. I want to swipe down the middle of that part right there.
Nice.
I gotta go with the small town Connecticut charm via Chicago. I gotta go Dean Forrester off of nothing but this conversation we're having right now.
Yeah.
All right, Rich, are you going with that stocking look of Dean, or are you going a different path?
Yeah, I gotta go with someone who knows that you don't microwave pierogies; you heat them on the stove. That's I think that's the only thing I need from this. The very last guy sounds awful. I would not. Was that Logan? Is that his name? Yeah, absolutely. Fuck Logan. I don't know anything about Logan. This guy looks fucking you. There is nothing. You don't get booted from private school for good reasons. It's not like, oh, he's too much of a thrill seeker. It's like, no, you get booted from a private school because you we're stealing liquor and smoking meth. Like that, you do. This is not like.
Yeah, Geoff. Next, get this man off my screen.
All right,
get him out of here.
I don't like him.
Oh my gosh. And Rosie, I guess I'm curious, what, as the now older Gilmore Girls fan, I'm curious, was there a different answer today than there was in the past?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, coming right off of Rich's sentiments is fun for me because I go with Logan. I go with Logan because I think that out of all of these guys, I think that he's potentially the most supportive of Rory and really respects her intellectually and like respects her drive and career and things like that. And he also has that shared background of like, he gets it. And I don't think he's going to judge her to the same degree that we get some judgment from Jess. We get judgment from Dean. And I mean, I could wax poetic about how obnoxious Dean gets in the coming seasons. Mm-hmm. But when I was younger, it was Jess for me. Absolutely Jess for me. But I think that now I would be irritated by Jess. I think there's a lot of like, he does a lot of self-sabotage to himself. He's a really intelligent guy who would rather be seen in his blue-collar cosplay than like actually do anything of substance for himself.
And for myself, all of these guys have great things about them. All of them have gigantic red flags as well. Like, absolutely, they are waving high, gigantic, like taking up an entire football field flags. So, yeah.
The hating drama thing being on any man's dating profile is automatically a red flag because it just means, like, you can't handle emotion at all. So, big red flag. Rosie, these two have never used a dating app. They found their partners before dating apps were a thing.
Oh wow,
but, like,
good for you guys.
It's crazy. But like that's a major red flag in that dating world.
Yeah,
all of them are scary. Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, good luck to anyone who's using dating apps. I already was having stress just making this presentation for you all, so I can only imagine what it is like out there. Well, thank you for that in-flight question. Let's talk a little bit about the history of this show really quickly. This show had 7 seasons on TV and 153 episodes. That is not including the 4-episode miniseries that was on Netflix in later years. I do want to mention, this is our first TV show that we have ever done on the podcast that has been on 3 different networks. And the reason I use networks is it went from WB to CW, like many shows we've done on this podcast. But then Netflix bought the rights to the Gilmore Girls and was able to make that questionable 4-episode miniseries that happened. Remember when we were talking about like cable and the idea that this cable show was a big draw for CW/WB? First season averaged 3.6 million viewers, which is not that shabby whatsoever. Mm-hmm. It got all the way up to 5.2 million viewers on average per episode. And then towards the end, averaged around 4 million. Still very, very good. As far as like this show, it got syndicated really, really early. There are like many studies about this show and how many times episodes were shown in a year. Like, even though there were only 153 episodes, one executive said that they showed Gilmore Girls on their channel over 400 times a year, which means you're showing multiple episodes multiple times throughout the year. In 2016, this was actually called one of the most watched shows on Netflix by Ted Sarandos. And it's really interesting, all the talk that we've done, and then talking about awards, because the show did get 62 nominations and it had 19 wins, but none of them were for really notable things. It got an Emmy win, but that was only for makeup, outstanding makeup in a series, which was super interesting. But don't worry, even though there's no ocean near Stars Hollow, there are 5 surfboards that are around Stars Hollow, because this show did win 5 Teen Choice Awards. And most notable award, it actually won in 2003 the American Film Institute Award for TV Program of the Year, which is, considering 2003 was a pretty good year for television, pretty impressive. But that is the history of this show. And Rich, it is now time for your game of the week.
Well, clearly Geoff and I didn't coordinate on what our games were going to be here, because mine's in the form of the classic The Dating Game. And I wanted to give each of you a name the guest with some clues here. So we're going to go with Max. You're going to get our guest bachelor number 1. He is not primarily known for acting. He's known mostly for his hair metal days as a frontman in the 80s and 90s, and performed at the band Skid Row until he turns his sights toward Broadway. He was... Oh, do you know already?
Yeah. I mean, I know who this person is when you said the band Skid Row and went out to do Broadway.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't have included Skid Row. Anyways, okay,
you shouldn't have included Broadway.
Yeah, you're right. I should have just removed that one entirely. Who is it, Max?
It's Sebastian Bach.
It is Sebastian Bach. Sebastian Bach played Gil for 13 episodes. Was not expecting that. I did not know he acted at all. This next one is for Rosie. Mystery guest bachelor number 2. Chicago born and raised, not Dean. He hosted a popular morning show where he became famous. But before that, he guested on Greek, ER, and The West Wing. His largest role to date was 110 episodes on an NBC Prime sitcom. But of course, since then, you may know him from a famous interview where he confessed his love of socks to Larry King.
Blank. No idea.
That is community actor Danny Pudi.
Yes.
Who played his... I realized I put in a misdirection one there with the morning show. That's clearly Troy and Abed in the morning.
Oh my God.
You son of a bitch.
And our final mystery guest, Bachelorette, for Geoff. Born in Prague to a diplomat father, she settled in Denver, Colorado after the communist uprising of Czechoslovakia. Served as a Senate aide and then staffed the National Security Council for the Clinton administration. Since then, she guested on one episode of Gilmore Girls as herself and served as a brand ambassador for Herbalife. But you probably know her as the first woman as Secretary of State. Who is it?
Madeleine Albright.
It's
right?
Madeleine Albright. That is the most
GW professor as well.
According to the Gilmore Girls Reddit page, that is resoundingly the weirdest guest spot on Gossip Girl. I'm sorry, Gossip Girl on Gilmore Girls entirely. So,
my God.
Well, so Rich, thank you for playing. Oh, also, there are 2 bands who are credited as entirely themselves. This is a bonus question. If anyone name the 2 bands that appeared on the show?
The Bangles.
Yep.
Yeah. And
Dixie Chicks. I'm just guessing.
It is not the Dixie Chicks.
Or the Chicks. Excuse me.
Think cardigans. Think sweaters.
The cardigans.
The sweaters.
Weezer?
No, it is the Shins.
Oh, very cool.
Oh.
Very, very cool. Well, Rich, thank you so much for your game of the week. Folks, we are coming to a land on this episode, but before we do so, I have 2 more questions for each of you. And that is, 1, based off of the pilot, would you continue watching the Gilmore Girls? Sure, the plot, the A plot that we had might not be that compelling, but the acting and the relationship sure seem to be. And two, and Rosie, I'm going to ask you a different question, but I'm going to start off with Max. Based off of this sort of show, do you think that there is a space for this type of show in TV as it currently stands?
Yeah, I mean, seeing this show, going back to the pilot, thinking of all the people in my life who have asked me if Stars Hollow is a real town in Connecticut, the warm hug of small town Main Street to the domination of the insurance industry over Connecticut. This is an absolute yes for me to want to keep watching. I love the antics. I love the banter. I love the characters, most importantly, and I would definitely want to continue watching. And yes, I do think that there is room for shows of this ilk that are focused so much on family dynamic. It's interesting to see a thing that feels both slice of life and, again, going back to it, zany. It walks this tightrope, and I think that it definitely has a place for this tone, for these types of characters to be successful in today's TV landscape.
Rich, same two questions for you.
Number one, I'm 100% watching the next episode of this show. I think everything that's been established so far in the pilot has pushed me to to wanting to watch more. In the syndication of it all, I felt like this show is very serial. It feels weird to have it jump around in syndication. I don't know if that's how you guys feel about it, but definitely watching more. I do think there is a place for Rory and Lorelai's relationship on TV right now, but it would be extremely hard to make it relatable with Lorelai's family wealth. And I feel like the intergenerational wealth aspect of it all would be super unrelatable in 2024. So I would say they probably wouldn't continue that on, but I would definitely say the relationship between them two, the relationship with Michelle and Sookie and everything, great TV right now. Everything else would probably have to be set in a different setting.
All right, Rosie, your two questions based off of the pilot. Is this gonna be your fall show? Is it gonna return to the regimen? But second, I have a little bit of a different question for you. And that is, the show did have 7 seasons. And then we had the Netflix season come out, which is 4 episodes that are hotly contested. Do you think that season was even necessary? Or would you want them to try to retcon it, make a new version of it, and that could exist today?
I'm sorry, I'm unfamiliar completely with this season that you're talking about. No, I've never, I don't acknowledge it. I think it's awful. I think it's fan servicey in a way that you're not even servicing the fans what we love about the show. It's just,
it's kind of a nudge of just remember this?
It's barbarism.
Wow.
Big word.
Bad TV executives. Bad.
You know what? Yeah, I really want to go in a room like that and just be in this same sweater and just attack people to that degree. I want to hop in and give my little answer about how I think this. I want to see the Succession version of this show today, and I feel like that's the dynamic that we could do.
Whoa!
I want to see the private school girl. I want to see all of that with the writers of Succession taking the reins. I mean, you're going to miss the coziness of it, but maybe there would be some level of it. But
there's something about the phrase "high stakes" and Connecticut that just don't line up for me.
Fair. And absolutely. I mean, this is going to be in my rotation. I mean, there's so much content of the show because you get these 45-minute long episodes and there's 22 episodes. I do pick and choose and hop around. There's lots of infographics available to you on Pinterest that are the coziest fall episodes of the show because there are some stinkers. You get something with this much material you're going to be met with that. I think for me, I'll just give you a sampling of what else I rewatched during the season. I love Over the Garden Wall. So it's
nice.
that. And then I have to add something like dark into the mix. So something I'll cherry pick from like Ryan Murphy's offerings. And right now I'm enjoying a rewatch of Scream Queens, which is also, if you like dialogue heavy stuff, that's for you, but it's deeply offensive, especially in today's climate.
Yeah.
So.
If you hate plot but love dialogue, boy, are you gonna love Scream Queens.
Yeah, and if you're listening to this, if this is your first time listening to this podcast, to come listen to Rosie, we actually covered Scream Queens a couple weeks ago. So scroll back and go enjoy us covering some campy horror.
Perfect. Happy to plug that for you.
Oh. Well, I'll finish us off on recommendations, and my recommendation is, I'm going to add this back in to my rotation. And I was thinking to myself, like, how could I add this back in without just being like so much fall? And I think like treating it like that one episode a week TV that we used to get and used to love. Not that this is a water cooler show, but this is a show that just does give you that warmth and that familial feeling that sometimes you yearn for from TV. And then as far as more of this, I think that Lauren Graham has done an excellent job of finding shows that are based off of relationships and like dominating in them. And like one example is Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist. Another one is Parenthood, which she was on NBC for 5 years, and we'll inevitably do both of those shows on this podcast. But there's something to be said about when you see someone like that do so well in shows like that, that people want that in their life. They want the relationship base. They don't need, oh, this building exploded and we have to save everyone. Not that I don't love 911, but sometimes you need a palate cleanser that isn't as busy and that does spark a little bit of heart and a little bit of joy. Well, folks, that is the end of our 100th episode of TV Pilots License.
Yay!
But before we go, Rosie, first of all, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, thank you. What an honor. 100th episode, Gilmore Girls, like start kicking off my fall season this way. Hell yeah.
Where can folks find you?
Connecticut is.
Yeah, exactly. We had no idea before. Max just appeared. Where can folks find you if they not only want to hear more from you, but get more from you, get more advice, all of the fun things?
Well, if you want to just completely be delusional and pretend it's fall right now, I would say a great portion of all of my socials are dedicated to that. I've got a YouTube channel where I do like cozy New England fall trips and day trips like that. I've got an Instagram, a TikTok, and I really am setting the vibe, setting the tone. I like to be premature so that you can be inspired by the things that inspire me. And that's under my name, Rosie, ROSEYBEEEME, Rosie Beeme. I'm there.
Everyone go follow her right now.
Yeah, follow right now. We all follow her already, so we can't add extra follows, but we highly recommend it. Rich, where can folks find you?
You can find me looking for my lost Macy Gray CD, and you can also find me on Instagram at Damn That's Rich. You can find original sketch comedy from Max and myself at Dadwagon Comedy on TikTok.
Max?
You can find me tonight playing harp at the Independence Inn, and you can find me on...
Oh, I wish you had the coffee can to throw down.
And you can find me on all things social media at Maxwell Sing.
And you can find Lee, maybe not so moderately consuming caffeine at Luke's, but you can also find me on social media at Run Jeff Run. You can find the TV Pilots License anywhere you listen to podcasts, as well as on YouTube and social media at TV Pilots License. If you have a question about the show or for our next episode, you can email us at tvpilotslicense@gmail.com or give us a call at 213-290-1713. Make sure to watch our socials for some sneak previews of some of the stuff that we have coming up, as well as calls for your in-flight questions. But with the plane landed and the seatbelt sign off, we look forward to flying the bright skies of the TV world with you again soon. And until then, where you lead, I will follow.
I was going to say, are you my new daddy?
Well, gentlemen, that was our last stop on
If you wait, I will follow.
of our Thanksgiving special. But before we go, I want to make sure that folks can find you wherever you want to be found. Rich, where can folks find you?
You can find me waiting to get out of traffic in Stars Hollow. The holiday season's crazy here. And you can also find me on Instagram at Damn That's Rich. You can find original sketch comedy by Max and myself over on TikTok at Dadwagon Comedy.
Max?
I mean, Rich has me inspired to have some of the world's greatest cheese fries and be on all things social media at Maxwell Sig.
And you can find me passed out on my couch from eating 5 pounds of turkey all by myself. But
yeah.
if you're looking for me on social media, you can find me at Run Jeff Run. If you're looking for the TV Pilots License, you can find us anywhere you listen to podcasts. Make sure to subscribe, like, review. You can also find us on YouTube. Anything that you do to give us more engagement really does help. And I know that we're all thankful for our frequent flyers and first-time flyers for this podcast. If you have a question for the show, maybe an in-flight question, you can submit those at tvpilotslicense.com. You can shoot us a voicemail or leave us a text at 213-290-1713. And make sure to watch out on all of the different channels, all of the different social media platforms for previews of some of the stuff that we have coming up. But with the plane landed and the seatbelt sign off, we look forward to flying the bright skies of the TV world with you again soon. Until next time, keep your eyes on the skies and your fingers on the dial.
Gobble gobble, motherfuckers.